Chapter 1806. Before leaving, Shiyu didn't forget to glare at Yun Luofeng fiercely. Chi Su's mind was filled with second brother Chi's matters, so he didn't notice Shiyu's final glare. After Shiyu left, he quickly walked to Yun Luofeng's side. "Miss Yun, I met the second prince of the kingdom of Tianqi in the medicine hall today." The second prince of the kingdom of Tianqi. Yun Luofeng's eyes flickered as he asked, "What is he doing here?" "The second prince wants us to provide him with a large amount of spirit-gathering liquid. He will buy it at the original price, but I didn't agree immediately. I said that I needed to think about it." Chi Su glanced at Yun Luofeng. After all, Yun Luofeng was the one who had provided the spirit-gathering liquid, so he didn't know how much Yun Luofeng still had. That was why he didn't agree so easily. Yun Luofeng pondered for a moment. "Within a month, I can provide him with 50 bottles of strengthened spirit-gathering liquid and 100 bottles of ordinary spirit-gathering liquid. If he can agree, we can do this business." "All right, I will reply to him later." Chi Su smiled. Obviously, he also wanted to accept this business deal from the second prince. "Chi Su, you don't have to give me the gold coins you earned from selling the spirit liquid today. I still need you to buy some items for me." Yun Luofeng's eyes flickered. The Windy Cloud continent wasn't the 7 continents after all. Many plans that couldn't be carried out in the 7 continents could be carried out successfully here. "Please speak, Miss Yun." Chi Su stood respectfully in front of Yun Luofeng. Perhaps it was because of the spirit-gathering liquid, but he was filled with reverence for the woman in front of him. "I will write down the items I need on a piece of paper. You can buy them for me. Also, ask the second prince to stay for now. I want to see him personally in a month." Yun Luofeng's fingers lightly tapped on the stone table. Her slightly narrowed eyes shone with light. The corners of her lips curled up, forming a silent smile. The spirit god continent was too powerful. So powerful that she couldn't match it. Fortunately, the Windy Cloud continent had become a space for her to train. Because of this, she would make good use of this opportunity and make the Windy Cloud continent her backing. The news that Maplewood Town's Chi Clan's medicinal hall was selling spirit liquid had spread from that day onwards, and there were even more people from other places who were attracted by its fame. Uncle Zhao was extremely busy, but he had a long-lost smile on his face. Even Chi Su's guards were sent to help out. It was clear how popular the Chi Clan's medicinal hall was. Of course, some people were happy, while others were angry. In the Chi family's main hall, Qi Jing slammed his palm on the table. The veins on his forehead bulged as he angrily shouted, "Chi Su, that unfilial son, he doesn't even listen to my orders. Does he want me, his father, to go to a small place like Maplewood Town to find him?" Within this 1 month, Qi Jing had repeatedly ordered Chi Su and his sister to return to the Qi family. However, Chi Su had ignored his orders. This ignited the anger in his heart. If Chi Su was in front of him now, he would definitely not be able to control himself and slap this unfilial son to death. "Dad, Chi Su is clearly looking down on you." Chi Mo sneered. He even claimed that he's no longer a member of the Qi family. Impudent. Qi Zheng's face turned ashen and his entire body trembled. The Qi family has raised him for so many years. Now that he doesn't need the Qi family anymore, he can just kick us away. I want to see if he can still refuse to hand over the formula if I, his father, personally go to find him. Chapter 1807. In fact, Qi Jing wasn't so angry because Qi Su was unfilial. Instead, Qi Su had something as good as the spirit liquid formula, but he didn't give it to him. That was unforgivable. "Men, follow this patriarch to Maplewood Town. This time, I want everything from the Qi family's medicinal hall back, not just the formula of the spirit liquid. Father. Chi Mo's eyes flickered. The Qian family sent someone here again. They want Qi Ling to be old man Qian's concubine. The Qian family will give her 100 spirit herbs as a betrothal gift. 100 spirit herbs. Qi Zheng was stunned. Greed flashed across his eyes, but he fell silent. A year ago, I said that I would marry Qi Ling to old man Qian, but you insisted on sending them to Maplewood Town first. You even made such a ridiculous agreement for Qi Su. Now that you've lost to Qi Su, how are you going to bring Qi Ling back? Qi Zheng regretted it at the thought of this. Qi Ling was just a good-for-nothing. She was useless in the Qi family. The Qi family had already made a profit by using her to exchange for 100 spirit herbs. Dad, marriage is a big deal. It's the parents' decision. As Qi Ling's father, what right does she have to disobey who you want her to marry? Qi Mo sneered. As for my agreement with Qi Su, can't I just deny it? That's the only way. Qi Zheng glanced at Qi Mo and said, also, get ready to bring your mother back in a few days. Qi Mo froze and looked at Qi Zheng in disbelief. His eyes were filled with joy. Father, is what you said true? You want to clear my mother's name? Mo, Qi Zheng looked at Qi Mo with a pained expression. You and your mother have suffered too much all these years. The Qi family is powerful enough now, and Yun Wuqing is no longer around. I should make it up to you. He paused and said, I know you're jealous that Yun Wuqing took Qi Su as his disciple. However, so what if he's Yun Wuqing's disciple? You're the eldest son of the Qi family. All the Qi family's finances will belong to you. Father, I understand. It's just that I've been separated from mother for so many years. This is indeed my fault for separating you and your mother. In the future, I will use the rest of my life to make it up to you. He felt that the worst thing he had done was to separate Qi Mo and his mother. However, he did not feel that it was wrong to strangle his own son. Who asked all the flowers in the courtyard to wither when that kid was born? If such an inauspicious person were to live, it would definitely affect the Qi family's career. Look, if it wasn't for that brat's death, how could the Qi family have its status today? Therefore, Qi Zheng was very glad that he had decisively strangled Qi Su's brother back then. He also believed that Qi Mo's arrival in the Qi family had brought luck to the Qi family. That was why the Qi family had become second only to the royal family in such a short time. If Yun Wuqing knew that the Qi family he had helped had such thoughts, would he regret his actions? Father, when are we going to take back what belongs to our Qi family? No. It should be said that he wanted to take back what belonged to him. Qi Zheng's face sank little by little, and a trace of ruthlessness flashed through his sharp eyes. I'll set off for Maplewood Town in a moment. I want to see if that unfilial son has the guts to defy me. Maplewood Town. Qi Su and his sister did not know about the commotion in the Qi family. They did not expect Qi Jing to come personally. Chapter 1808. At this moment, Qi Su was standing at the door of Yun Luofeng's room, waiting. After a while, the door was slowly pushed open, and a woman in white entered his sight. Qi Su's eyes lit up. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly realized that there were 3 women behind Yun Luofeng. The 3 of them were expressionless. Their faces were paralyzed, and their eyes were lifeless. They were like puppets in human form. Miss Yun, these people are... Qi Su was startled as he looked at the 3 young women in astonishment. His eyes were filled with astonishment. When did these people appear in Miss Yun's room? Why didn't he know? Moreover, the pressure from these 3 women was too strong, so strong that it made one's heart tremble. Deity. Qi Su's body trembled. If he guessed correctly, these 3 women were at the deity realm. Let's go. Aren't we going to see the second prince of Tianqi? Then let's go now. Yun Luofeng's lips curled up as she glanced at Qi Su. See the second prince? Then these 3 women. Qi Su didn't understand what Yun Luofeng wanted to do, especially since a month ago, she asked him to buy a pile of meteoric iron to forge weapons for her. After he bought the meteoric iron, she hid in her room and didn't come out again. After she appeared, there were 3 more women. No. Qi Su suddenly seemed to feel something. Her eyes were filled with shock. Miss Yun, these women aren't breathing. Yes. These 3 women weren't breathing. Whether it was humans or spirit beasts, as long as they were alive, they would breathe. If they weren't breathing, then there was only one situation: puppets. You guessed it. Yun Luofeng's lips curled up. These 3 people are my masterpieces in a month, puppets. Back then, Yun Luofeng's strength was relatively low, so the azure wings she made were only at the Holy Spirit realm. Now that her strength had increased, the puppets she made had also reached the deity realm. However, these 3 are failures. I plan to sell them to the second prince. Qi Su's eyes widened in shock. You sold your failures to the second prince. Won't the second prince settle the score with you? Hearing this, Yun Luofeng's lips curled up. Although it's a failure, the puppet's strength is at the divine spirit realm. Unlike humans, it doesn't feel pain, so it won't die. To be able to fight endlessly. Furthermore, I will never betray you. Do you think the second prince wouldn't like such a puppet? The reason why this puppet was a failure was because the material she asked Qi Su to look for was still missing, a material called the meteoric iron core. The meteoric iron heart was extremely difficult to obtain. With Qi Su's ability, she would not be able to obtain it. Therefore, she did not write it down. Back then, when she had created the azure wings, it was because Zhu Qian had left behind the meteoric iron heart and the illusion that the azure wings had advanced. However, Yun Luofeng had not expected him to advance by swallowing thunder and lightning. As for the 3 puppets in front of him, their strength would forever remain at the level of a deity, unable to break through. This was why Yun Luofeng called it a failure. Miss Yun, Qi Su was silent for a moment before he said, You have these puppets, why don't you use them for yourself? Instead, you give them to the second prince. These things cannot be measured by price. In other words, selling the puppets would be too much of a loss. Yun Luofeng raised an eyebrow. Not only do I want to sell them to the second prince, I also want to sell them on the mainland. Do you think that if there were puppets for sale on the mainland, those powerful people would give them up? Once they give them up, it would mean that they have lost to their competitors. Therefore, I believe that those powerful people would definitely form an army of puppets. Chapter 1809. Qi Su's jaw dropped in shock. What is your goal in doing this? Yun Luofeng narrowed her eyes and laughed silently. Puppets will not betray their owners. Similarly, they will not betray me, the one who created them. If I send these puppets to the great families of the mainland, doesn't that prove that I already have all the forces in my hands? Qi Su's body trembled as she looked at Yun Luofeng in shock. Could you imagine that in the future, the main forces of the great families would all be replaced with puppets? If these puppets were sent to the great families, wouldn't that mean that Yun Luofeng controlled the main forces of all the forces? Miss Yun, is this where your ambition lies? From the very beginning, Yun Luofeng had never wanted a small profit. She had always wanted the entire continent. Yes, my goal is this mainland. One day, she would take the entire mainland for herself. Qi Su laughed bitterly. It's not just these puppets. The effects of the spirit-gathering liquid that you provided are also too strong. If you are the only one who can provide this liquid in the future, the forces of the mainland will not refuse if you ask them to work for you. Yun Luofeng smiled and did not answer Chi Su. What she wanted was not for those forces to work for her. She needed an existence that could resist the spirit god mainland. For this, so what if she had to resort to any means? She only needed to protect herself and the people around her. That was enough. The second prince will be leaving tomorrow. Should we go and see him now? Chi Su's eyes were filled with complex emotions, but there was also a hint of admiration. In the Windy Cloud continent, only Yun Luofeng would dare to say that she would take over the entire mainland. Even the top experts of the country would not dare to be so arrogant. However, Chi Su had a feeling that the Windy Cloud continent would soon change because of Yun Luofeng's arrival, fortune in. The man stood in front of the window with his hands behind his back. His dark eyes were filled with deep thought. His eyes were fixed on the bustling streets below. No one knew what he was thinking. Your Highness, the second young master of the Qi family has arrived. The guard's voice came from outside the door. The man's tightly furrowed brows relaxed as he smiled. He has finally arrived. Invite him in. Creak. The door was pushed open. The man slowly turned around and looked at Chi Su, who had just walked in. When he saw Yun Luofeng, who followed closely behind her, he unconsciously paused and said, "This lady is Second Master Qi, she's my friend. She's been staying at my house recently, so I brought her along." Oh. The man laughed. His smile was ambiguous. So it's second young Master Qi's friend. Please have a seat. Second brother Qi turned to look at Chi Su and asked, "How's second young Master Qi's preparation?" "I've brought 50 bottles of the enhanced version of the spirit-gathering liquid and 100 bottles of the ordinary version." Chi Su took out a space ring and placed it on the table. "Please check it, second Master Qi." "No need, I believe in you." Second brother Qi smiled and took out a stack of banknotes from his lapel. He placed it in front of Chi Su. "This is the money I used to buy the spirit-gathering liquid." Chi Su smiled and put away the banknotes. "Second Master Qi, there's something else I want to sell you." As soon as he finished speaking, Chi Su clapped his hands. In an instant, 3 women walked into the room. These 3 women were not considered beautiful. Instead, they exuded a steely heroic spirit and did not have the gentleness of ordinary women. Chapter 18:10. Second brother Qi was stunned. His face darkened. "Second young Master Qi, what do you mean? Am I that kind of lecherous person? Hurry up and get these women to leave. I have no interest in them." "Second young Master Qi, you've misunderstood me. I want to sell these women to you because I want them to be your guards." As soon as Chi Su finished speaking, a powerful aura surged from the bodies of the few women. This aura caused Qi Lao Air to be startled and frowned slightly. "Deity. It's not like I don't have the protection of a deity. I'm afraid I won't accept these deities." At this moment, the woman in white sitting next to Chi Su suddenly said, "Feel them again. See if there's anything unusual about them." Hearing the woman's voice, second brother Qi turned his gaze to the woman in white again. He didn't take a good look at Yun Luofeng just now. Now that he looked, he realized that this woman was very beautiful. She had a demonic and peerless face, pitch-black bright eyes, and her slightly raised lips revealed an evil smile. Her white clothes set off her snow-white skin. Her black hair cascaded down her back like a waterfall. However, second brother Qi was not a lecherous person. He regained his composure after being stunned for a moment. "What do you mean?" Yun Luofeng raised the corners of his lips. The second prince of the kingdom of Tian-Chi can't sense the uniqueness of these three women. Second brother Chi glanced at Yun Luofeng, then retracted his gaze and looked at the three women who were as still as mountains. After a while, he seemed to have sensed something and paused. Puppets. These three women didn't seem to be alive. This proved that they were puppets. That's right. These are indeed puppets. Yun Luofeng's finger lightly tapped on the table. There are indeed no deities around the second prince, but are you sure they won't betray you? For example, if someone captured their family, lover, and child, would they still be loyal to you? Everyone had weaknesses. Once these weaknesses were grasped by the enemy, they would be a fatal threat. Second brother Chi's expression stiffened. Indeed, he couldn't guarantee that the people around him would always be loyal to him. But these puppets are different. Yun Luofeng smiled faintly. They don't have life. They will only obey orders, so they will never betray you. Second brother Chi fell silent. It had to be said that Yun Luofeng's words were indeed very tempting. Furthermore, Yun Luofeng paused, then continued, these puppets will not only not betray you, they will not feel pain and will not die. With them, you will have an undead army. The puppets had the same effect as Yun Luofeng's skeleton army. Without life, there would be no pain, and similarly, there would be no death. As long as his body wasn't smashed to pieces, no matter how severe the injury, he could still stand up and fight. All right. Second brother Chi was indeed tempted. I want all three of these puppets. If you have other puppets, sell them to me as well. I'm sorry, the number of puppets is limited for now. After a while, Chi Su will put the puppets on sale in the shop. You can buy them from the shop. Yun Luofeng faintly smiled and slowly stood up. All right. Second brother Chi nodded. However, I have a request. No matter who you sell the puppet to, you can't sell it to the other princes of the kingdom of Tian-Chi. Chapter 1811. I can convince Chi Su to agree to this request. Yun Luofeng didn't agree. Instead, she pushed the matter to Chi Su. After all, she didn't want others to know that she had the ability to forge puppets. If there was a reason, Yun Luofeng didn't ask. Everyone had their own secrets. Moreover, second brother Chi was from the royal family. There must be some secrets involved. Naturally, she wouldn't ask. Young master, young master. At that moment, a panicked voice came from outside the door. Chi Su stood up hurriedly. With a bang, the door was pushed open, and Uncle Zhao stumbled in. Young master, something bad has happened. The family head has brought people from the Chi family here. Moreover, young mistress happened to go to the medicine hall and was captured by the Chi family. They said that they want to bring her back to old man Qian as a concubine. What? Chi Su's footsteps swayed, and he almost couldn't stand steadily. He turned around and cupped his fists at second brother Chi. Second master Chi, I still have something to do. I'll take my leave first. With that, he rushed out of the door. His footsteps were as fast as the wind. Second brother Chi furrowed his brows. This Chi clan is really unreasonable. Besides, I just reached an agreement with Chi Su. I can't let Chi Su be defeated by the Chi family. Come with me to the Chi family's medicine hall. He wanted to see how the Chi family would bully him. Outside the medicine hall, there was a crowd. Chi Mo rushed into the medicine hall and dragged Chi Ling, who was hiding behind the counter, out. He slapped her delicate face. Chi Ling was stunned. Her innocent eyes were filled with tears, and her body was trembling. She bit her lips and didn't say a word. Bitch, how dare you hide? You're a piece of trash. The Chi family has raised you for so many years, but you're so ungrateful now. Chi Mo grabbed Chi Ling's hair and dragged her out of the medicine hall. Young mistress. Chi Su's subordinates wanted to stop them, but the group of experts brought by the Chi family blocked their way. They could only watch as Chi Ling was dragged out by Chi Mo. Chi Jing stood outside the door and watched coldly. His expression was very ruthless. It was as if the person being abused and beaten by Chi Mo wasn't his biological daughter. Everyone. He caught a glimpse of the disdain in the eyes of the onlookers. He coughed dryly and said, "Although Chi Ling is my daughter, she should be taught a lesson for not learning good things at such a young age. Don't be fooled by the fact that she's only 5 years old. She's already learned how to seduce men. Now that the man has come to the Chi family to look for her, I have no choice but to bring her back." Chi Jing shook his head with a helpless expression. As the saying goes, one should not wash one's dirty linen in public. Not to mention that Chi Ling had never done such a thing. Even if he had committed such a mistake, he would still say that his daughter seduced a man. Wasn't that equivalent to shaming the Chi family? Chi Ling's face was full of grievance, and big teardrops fell from her eyes. I didn't, at first. Chi Mo didn't understand what his father meant. After Chi Ling said that, he came back to his senses and slammed Chi Ling's head against the wall. "Bitch, how dare you deny it? As your brother, I'll teach you a lesson today. Let's see if you dare to embarrass the Chi family again." Chi Ling's head was bleeding profusely. Her face was pale, and her body was trembling. Chapter 18:12. Ahem. Chi Jing coughed dryly and looked at Chi Mo reproachfully. "You hurt this girl's face. What should we do?" Even so, he didn't stop Chi Mo when he pressed Chi Ling's head against the wall. Chi Mo smiled sinisterly. "The Chi family lacks other things, but we don't lack spirit herbs. No matter how badly she's disfigured, she can recover. However, we can't let her use this spirit herb for nothing. We have to make Chi Su pay for it." He had long wanted to give this damned girl a good beating and vent all the dissatisfaction he had felt towards Chi Su over the years on Chi Ling. Although there were many onlookers, no one stood up to help Chi Ling. They only pointed at her from the side. The fickleness of human nature was just like that. Chi Ling wept soundlessly. Her little face was already covered with tear stains and blood flowed continuously from her forehead. She looked at the crowded streets and her eyes were filled with despair towards this world. "Bitch, even Chi Su can't save you this time." Chi Mo smiled coldly. She lifted Chi Ling's hair again and walked to Chi Zhang's side. "Dad, let's get someone to send this girl back first." "Send her back." These words caused Chi Ling to tremble all over. She, who had been silent all this while, suddenly opened her mouth and roared. "No, I don't want to go back. Brother, save me. Sister Yun, save me." Chi Jing frowned. This girl called Yun Wuqing Aunt Yun. Who was Sister Yun? However, Chi Mo didn't think too much about it. She threw Chi Ling aside and said to the Chi family's guards, "Send this girl back to the Chi family first." "Yes, young master." A guard stepped forward and pulled Chi Ling's arm out of the crowd. Chi Ling did not know where she got the strength from, but she opened her mouth and bit the guard's arm. Feeling the pain, the guard loosened his grip. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Chi Ling quickly ran in another direction. Trying to run. Chi Mo's eyes were dark, and his footsteps were swift. Soon, he arrived beside Chi Ling and pressed down on her shoulder. "Bitch, let's see where you can run to this time." Chi Ling's face turned pale. Suddenly, her eyes lit up when she saw two figures rushing towards them. Brother, Sister Yun. Chi Su saw Chi Ling, who was being held down by Chi Mo. His heart ached when he saw the red fingerprints on the girl's face and the blood flowing from her forehead. Little Ling. Whoosh. Before Chi Mo could come back to his senses, he heard a loud shout in front of him. Then, a hurricane came at him, causing him to take a few steps back. Chi Su hurriedly protected Chi Ling in his arms and glared at Chi Mo angrily. Then, he lowered his head and stared at the girl's red cheeks. His eyes were filled with guilt and pain. Little Ling, Big Brother didn't protect you well. Are you alright? Does the wound hurt? Chi Ling shook her head as she stared at Chi Su's nervous face. Her large eyes shone brightly as she raised her hand to gently wipe away the tears flowing down the young man's face. Big Brother, Little Ling doesn't hurt. Don't cry, it really doesn't hurt at all. Her cheeks and forehead were clearly hurting, but she couldn't say anything. That was because she couldn't let her brother be sad. Lady Yun, please help me take care of my little sister. Chi Su put Chi Ling down. He looked at Yun Luofeng and solemnly instructed. Originally, everyone's attention was on Chi Su, and no one noticed Yun Luofeng, who had followed behind. However, Chi Su's words made everyone turn to look at her. Chapter 1813. Chi Mo was shocked when he saw the woman in white. Of course, he wasn't shocked by Yun Luofeng's appearance. Instead, he was terrified. Similar. Too similar. This woman looked too similar to Yun Wuqing. If she wasn't 20 years younger, he would have suspected that Yun Wuqing had returned. Chi Mo. After Chi Su threw Chi Ling to Yun Luofeng, he slowly raised his head. His cold gaze was like a sharp blade that cut Chi Mo's bones. Back then, I made an agreement with you. If I could make the Chi family's medicinal hall a household name in Maplewood Town within a year, you would release Xiaoling. Are you going back on your word now? At that moment, Chi Su's eyes were filled with killing intent. He wanted to rush over and kill Chi Mo. However, he also knew that he couldn't be impulsive. It was never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. When he was strong enough, he would definitely make these people die a horrible death. Chi Mo was shocked by Chi Su's gaze. His face was pale, and it was difficult for him to breathe. Chi Jing seemed to have sensed Chi Mo's discomfort. He frowned and quietly helped him resolve the pressure. His cold gaze landed on Chi Su's face like a knife. Chi Su, this isn't Mo's fault. It was my idea. Chi Su sneered. He no longer had any expectations for the Chi family after knowing their true colors. He wasn't surprised at all when he heard Chi Zhang's words. The ancient said that even a vicious tiger wouldn't eat its cubs. I really don't know why you forced us to die. His eyes were filled with anger, and his fists were clenched tightly. Forced you? Chi Jing frowned. When did I force you? If Chi Ling hadn't been so careless, would so many things have happened? If she hadn't seduced the old master of the Qian family, would he have asked for her? What he meant was that the old man from the Qian family only liked Chi Ling because she was careless. If she had been reserved, how could he have wanted to marry her? So, it was the woman's fault that a man fancied a woman. Instead, it was the innocent who stole it. Chi Jing, you seem to have forgotten that Chi Ling is only 5 years old. A 5-year-old girl seducing an old man. Was that even possible? Perhaps because he was too angry, Chi Su didn't even address the other party as father. Instead, he called him by his name. As expected, the way he addressed him made Chi Zhang's entire body tremble in anger. His handsome face was not angry, but it was imposing. How dare you? You unfilial son, how dare you be so unfilial? I gave you the Chi family's medicine hall in Maplewood Town out of affection for my father. I didn't expect you to repay me like this. Qi Zhang's expression was cold. Since that's the case, I'll take back this medicine hall now. Return everything in the medicine hall to me. Not only the formula for the spirit-gathering medicinal liquid, but also the money you earned from selling the medicinal liquid last time. Qi Zhang finally stated his intentions and held his chest high. He did not feel that there was anything wrong with what he had done. So what if Yun Ruqing had left the recipe for Qi Su? After all, the Qi family's medicine hall belonged to the Qi family. Hence, there was nothing wrong with him demanding to take back all the items in the medicine hall. Don't even mention the formula, we don't even have a single cent. Qi Su snorted and looked at Qi Zhang coldly. His gaze seemed to be looking at a stranger. Unfilial son, you really are an unfilial son. Qi Zhang angrily pointed at Qi Su. I order you in the name of your father to hand over everything. These are all for your older brother. As the eldest son of the Qi family, your older brother should inherit everything. You're the second son and I don't need anything from you. What right do you have to fight with your older brother? Chapter 18:14. Clap, clap, clap. The sound of clapping could be heard. Then, the man's mocking laughter could be heard. It was filled with contempt. This is the first time I've seen someone so biased. Your second son worked so hard for this achievement. Why should you give it away? Who do you think you are? How dare you meddle in the Qi family's business? Qi Zhang glared at Qi Lauer, who was walking over slowly, and asked through gritted teeth. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Just as he finished speaking, a few dark guards descended from the sky, pulled out their ice-cold swords, and placed them on his neck. Qi Zhang's face turned green. However, he did not dare to speak carelessly in front of someone else's sword. It's you again. Qi Mo recognized the man immediately. What's your relationship with Qi Su? Why are you helping him so many times? Qi Lauer sneered. I need to buy the spirit-gathering liquid from him. Of course, I have to help him. Qi Zhang heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that. If you want the spirit-gathering liquid, then it's easy. Get your men to let me go now. I'll give you the liquid after I get the formula. Qi Su was stunned when he heard that. He looked at Qi Lauer anxiously. He was afraid that Qi Lauer would agree to Qi Zhang's request. If that happened, his and Yun Luofeng's plan would be in vain. In comparison, Yun Luofeng remained calm and composed. Her hand gently stroked Qi Ling's back and her black eyes were calm without a ripple of emotion. Qi Ling hid in Yun Luofeng's embrace. She peeked out and looked at Qi Zhang and his son timidly. That's not a bad idea. After Qi Zhang's anticipation and Qi Su's nervousness, Qi Lauer suddenly smiled and said, but, he paused and his lips curled into a smile. Rather than working with the shameless Qi family, I'd rather choose Qi Su. At least I'm more assured of his character. Qi Zhang's expression changed instantly. He looked at Qi Lauer, who was so close to him, and his eyes shone with anger. Qi Su has no power or influence. My Qi clan has a lot of assets. If you give up on the Qi clan and choose to cooperate with Qi Su, you will definitely regret it. I don't know if I'll regret it or not, second brother Qi smiled, revealing his snow-white teeth, making him look cold. But I know that you'll definitely regret it. Get lost. Bang! Second brother Qi suddenly kicked Qi Zhang's chest, sending him flying in an instant. He straightened his sleeves, retracted his leg, and coldly said, in the future, if you step into Maplewood Town, I will find someone to break your leg. Qi Zhang was frightened by the strength of Qi Lauer's kick. He crawled up awkwardly and ran to the back. Chi Mo was also stunned. This time, he chased after Qi Jing without waiting for second brother Qi to chase him away. Second young master Qi. Second brother Qi turned to face Qi Su and smiled. You said before that this is your family's matter and you don't want anyone to interfere. So, I didn't do anything to them. I only helped you chase them away. I believe that when you become stronger, they will regret it. Qi Su's talent was the best in the Qi clan. Otherwise, Yun Yueqing would not have taken him in as a disciple. However, he was still too young and he still had a long way to go. As long as he was given time, the entire Qi clan would definitely be destroyed in his hands. That was why second brother Qi said that Qi Jing would definitely regret it. Chapter 18:15. Little Ling, Qi Su walked to Qi Mo's side, his eyes filled with heartache. Do you blame me for not settling the score with the Qi family? Qi Ling shook her head. Her little face was filled with determination. I know that you want to hide your strength and bide your time. When you're strong enough, you'll make sure that the Qi family never makes a comeback. My temporary grievances will only become your revenge in the future. She was born in a place like the Qi family. With Yun Yueqing's instructions, how could Qi Ling be an ignorant little girl? It didn't matter that Qi Su didn't deal with the Qi family. After all, they weren't strong enough yet. Once he was strong enough, it would be the end of the Qi family. Little Ling, Master conquered the Qi family, so I will take back everything that belongs to us. Qi Su lowered his eyes, his gaze filled with malice. Master helped the Qi family increase their strength so that the Qi family could become his shield and protect him for the rest of his life. As for the mountain range that Master had seized, he had given it to him. But who knew that after Master disappeared, those people would use their strength to force him to hand over the mountain range and threaten him with Little Ling. For his sister's safety, he could only give up his assets. Qi Su, Yun Luofeng muttered to herself for a moment, then suddenly said, since this medicine hall belongs to the Qi family, you should return it to them. In an instant, the people who had ignored Yun Luofeng turned to look at her. Uncle Zhao frowned, his tone clearly unfriendly. Miss, the Qi family's medicine hall has been managed by second young master for a long time. Why should it be given to those people? I know you're second young master's friend, but isn't it too much for you to decide for him? In comparison, second brother Qi seemed to have thought of something as well. He looked at Yun Luofeng with a hint of admiration. No wonder Qi Su had taken a liking to this woman. She had extraordinary abilities, and her considerations were more thorough than anyone else's. It was obvious that when second brother Qi saw that Qi Su had brought Yun Luofeng with him, he naturally thought that the two of them had a special relationship. He didn't think that she was the one who had concocted the spirit-gathering potion. This medicine hall belongs to the Qi family. Does the title deed also belong to the Qi family? Yun Luofeng ignored Uncle Zhao's words and continued to stare at Qi Su. Qi Su suddenly understood something and nodded. Indeed, the second prince has chased away the Qi family members on my behalf today. However, the Qi family medicine hall now belongs to the Qi family. Naturally, I can no longer work for the Qi family medicine hall. Qi Su smiled. Uncle Zhao, Miss Yun is a good friend of mine. Her suggestion is not bad. If you want to follow me, let's open another medicine hall. What do you think? In any case, within this month, the Qi family's medicine hall's medicinal herbs were basically sold out. He had a lot of money in his hands and had the capital to leave the Qi family. Only then did Uncle Zhao react. A look of shame flashed across his aged face. So this is Miss Yun's plan. This old servant has misunderstood Miss Yun. Indeed, the Qi family's medicinal hall belongs to the Qi family. No matter how great our achievements are, the Qi family will still be able to take it back. If that's the case, we might as well start another business. At this point, Uncle Zhao paused and continued, "Young master, this old servant is willing to follow young master. I will never return to the Qi family to serve that idiot." "All right." A smile appeared on Qi Su's face. "Uncle Zhao, why don't we go to the Imperial City and open another medicinal hall? I want the Qi family to be unable to survive in the Imperial City." Chapter 18:16. He was now working with the second prince of the country of Tianqi. Coupled with the spirit-gathering liquid and the puppets, he believed that the Qi family would be destroyed by him in no time. Big brother. Qi Ling's heart tightened as she instinctively held Qi Su's hand and bit her lips. "Are we going back to the Imperial City?" That place could be said to be Qi Ling's nightmare. Now that she heard the two words Imperial City, her entire body trembled uncontrollably as her little face turned pale. "Xiaoling, we had left in a sorry state back then. This time, we have returned with strength." Qi Su comforted Qi Ling's young heart. "Besides, don't you want to see mother?" Qi Ling's body stiffened and she lowered her head. After a long while, she raised her eyes. "I don't want mother, I want Aunt Yun." Qi Su smiled bitterly in exasperation. A year ago, when he and Qi Ling had been chased away, their biological mother had been powerless and could only watch as they left. But could she be blamed for this? In the past, because of Master's existence, even their mother had a high status in the Qi family. Qi Zheng had respected her very much. However, after Master had disappeared for a year, those people had concluded that Master had died and their mother's status was even lower than a servant girl's. Unfortunately, her talent was not good enough and Master could not help her raise her power. So, this matter really could not be blamed on her. "Big brother, I don't want to be a good-for-nothing anymore." Qi Ling raised her head, her large eyes shining brightly. "I want to cultivate. I will persevere no matter how painful it is. If I have the power, I can go to Nemesis Forest to find Aunt Yun. She must still be alive. Xiaoling, your body won't be able to take it." Qi Su's heart trembled. He lowered his eyes to look at the girl in front of him, a trace of helplessness in his eyes. "Big brother, I want to try again." In Qi Ling's little heart, she had always firmly believed that as long as she could cultivate, Yun Wuqing would definitely return to their side. Yun Luofeng stood next to the pair of siblings. His pitch-black eyes were deep as if he was thinking about something. "Big brother, Ling He is not afraid of pain or death. I just want Aunt Yun to return to my side." If Qi Ling was given another chance, she would not let Yun Wuqing take the risk. He would rather be a good-for-nothing for the rest of his life than to let her step into such a dangerous situation. But back then, Qi Ling was ignorant and didn't know what Yun Wuqing had done. It wasn't until later on that she gradually understood why this motherly woman had disappeared. If she wants to try, then let her try. Just as Qi Su was about to refuse, a voice suddenly sounded, startling him slightly. Very quickly, Qi Su regained his senses and shook his head with a bitter smile. "Miss Yun, Xiaoling's physique is a little special. It's extremely painful when she cultivates. If she forcefully cultivates, she will definitely die from blood loss." With that, his gaze landed on Qi Ling, and his eyes were filled with gentleness. When Linger had just turned 2, Master had wanted to teach her how to cultivate. At the same time, she had also discovered that there was something strange about her body. Hence, she had headed to Nemesis Forest in search of a spiritual herb called the 9-star spiritual fruit. This spiritual herb could help Xiaoling forcefully cultivate. Who knew that she would never return? Yun Luofeng gently narrowed her eyes. She had discovered that aside from Qi Ling's special physique, her memory seemed to be extraordinary as well. Logically speaking, it was very easy to forget memories before the age of 2. However, she remembered them clearly and had a deep impression of Yun Wuqing. Chapter 18-17. If you can trust me, give Qiling to me. I will help her. Yun Luofeng thought for a moment before raising his head and speaking. Forget about the 9 stars spirit fruit, even an ordinary 9 stars fruit was difficult to buy. She had to go to Nemesis Forest. Hence, he could only use other methods to help Qiling. Qi Su was stunned. He frowned and fell into deep thought. It was not that he did not trust Yun Luofeng, but it was impossible for Qiling to cultivate. Hence, after a moment of silence, he turned to look at Qiling. Xiaoling should make her own choice. I can't make this decision on her behalf. Ever since the Qi family had retreated pathetically, the surrounding crowd had mostly dispersed. Aside from Qi Su's men, only second brother Qi's men remained. I want to follow Sister Yun. Qiling made this decision without hesitation. Even though Qi Su had already known about her decision, he was still shocked. Xiaoling, have you really made up your mind? Qiling nodded. Her eyes turned red. I want to find Aunt Yun. I don't want to be sold off by father again. Since you've made up your mind, you must persevere on this path. Qi Su took a deep breath and patted Qiling's shoulder. No matter what, the big brother will support you. Yun Luofeng raised his hand and pulled Qiling to his side. Only then did he raise his eyes to look at Qi Su. A faint smile appeared on his devilish face. I'm going to take her with me for a month. During this month, you should prepare for the trip to the Imperial City. Also, Yun Luofeng's words had been normal at first. However, in the end, the voice no longer traveled through his ears but directly exploded in his mind. A spiritual transmission. What shocked Qi Su even more was the content of the spiritual transmission. It was the formula for the spirit-gathering liquid. She had actually given the formula for the spirit-gathering liquid to him. And she was even asking him to brew the liquid. I'll leave my space ring in your care for the time being. I hope you won't disappoint me. Yun Luofeng took off the space ring and placed it in front of Qi Su. Qi Su scanned it with his spiritual power and was even more shocked. These are the spiritual herbs for brewing the spirit-gathering liquid. Where did she get so many spiritual herbs from? More than the entire Qi family. However, Qi Su also knew what to ask and what not to ask, especially when there were so many people present. Therefore, he swallowed the question that was on the tip of his tongue. In his heart, he secretly decided that in this life, he would never betray Yun Luofeng, nor would he betray her trust. In reality, Yun Luofeng dared to give him the formula and spirit medicine, and it was not a reckless act. Firstly, this pair of siblings had once sworn an oath to the heavenly Tao. Secondly, Qiling was by her side. In this world, Qiling was undoubtedly Qi Su's most important family member. If he dared to give his sister to her, why wouldn't she dare to take out the formula? What's more, Qi Su was working for her. She firmly believed that if she doubted someone, she wouldn't use him. If she used him, she wouldn't doubt him. Since she had chosen him, she would not doubt it. Qiling, let's go. Yun Luofeng held Qiling's hand and turned to look at Qi Su. After a month, I will bring Qiling back to find you. Mountain range. It was extremely dangerous. In this mountain range full of brambles, the woman in white held a sword in her left hand and cut away the brambles that blocked the way. Her right hand was holding the hand of a little girl who looked like she was carved out of jade. Chapter 18-18. This is the depths of Ling Chuan Mountain. There shouldn't be anyone here to disturb us. Qiling, are you ready? The white-robed woman stopped in her tracks and looked at the little Lolita beside her as she asked. The little Loli gently bit her lips, her big bright eyes filled with determination. I'm ready. Yun Luofeng smiled devilishly. I don't have a spirit fruit to help you, so it might be a little painful. If you can endure it, then you won't be useless anymore. Actually, from the moment he saw little Loli, Yun Luofeng knew what method to use to help her. However, the process was very painful. How could she endure it at such a young age? That was why Yun Luofeng had never mentioned helping her. It was only a few days ago outside the Qi family medicine hall when she said those words that Yun Luofeng decided to help her. Sister, Ling is not afraid. Qi Ling's eyes shone brightly like the sun, filled with the light of hope. Then sit down and try to cultivate. You should know the method of cultivation. No matter how painful it is, you must endure it. I won't let you die. Yun Luofeng lowered his eyes to look at Qi Ling and said firmly. Okay. Qi Ling sat down cross-legged and recalled the cultivation method that Yun Wuqing had taught her. In that instant, spirit energy gathered in front of her and gradually formed a thick fog. The fog passed through Qi Ling's pores and tried to enter her body. At that moment, a sharp pain made Qi Ling's body tremble and her little face turn pale. At the same time, a hand was placed on her back. A warm energy passed through that hand and entered her body, alleviating her pain. However, Qi Ling's cultivation method was different from when Yun Xiao dug out her heart and extracted her blood. The spirit energy in the divine grimoire could make Yun Xiao feel no pain when he dug out her heart and extracted her blood, but it could not completely block Qi Ling's pain nerves. That was why every time a strand of spirit energy entered her body would twitch. She would bite her lip and not make a sound. Qi Ling, if you can't endure it, don't worry. I'll help you cultivate when I find a spirit fruit. Yun Luofeng's voice came from behind, but it did not shake Qi Ling's little heart. Because of the intense pain, she could only force out 4 words, I need to find Aunt Yun. She could not give up. Seeing her like this, Yun Luofeng didn't say anything else. She calmly transferred her spirit energy to Qi Ling. This spiritual aura couldn't relieve her pain, but it could save her life. As long as Qi Ling could successfully let the spiritual qi pass through her meridians, she wouldn't have to suffer so much pain in the future. This first step was extremely important. More and more spiritual energy gathered in her body. The spiritual energy wanted to forcefully break through her meridians. Due to the gathering of spiritual energy, Qi Ling's body began to tremble. In any case, Qi Ling was only a 5-year-old child. She could control herself and not make a sound, but she couldn't control her tears. Soon, her face was covered in tears. If it wasn't for the belief in her heart supporting her, she would have given up long ago. Time ticked by. The sky turned from dawn to dusk. Qi Ling was in so much pain that she almost fainted, but because of the spiritual power that Yun Luofeng transferred to her, her mind became abnormally clear again. Finally, just as Qi Ling was about to collapse, an explosion sounded out and her body fell backwards. Chapter 18-19. Just as she was about to fall to the ground, a pair of hands caught her from behind. Sister Yun. Have I succeeded? The corners of Qi Ling's lips curled into a pitiful smile. Her pale little face was drained of blood and her breathing was very weak, as if it could disappear at any time. Yun Luofeng hurriedly took out a spiritual herb from the space and fed it to her. Once the spiritual herb entered her body, she gradually calmed down. Yes, you've succeeded. From now on, you're no longer a good-for-nothing. Qi Ling was not happy in the face of Yun Luofeng's words. She lowered her head and said dejectedly, if I had grown up back then, I would never have let Aunt Yun take such risks. That way, she wouldn't have left me and my brother, sister, did you know? Aunt Yun is the person who treats me the best apart from my brother. She's even better than my mother. A year ago, when my brother and I were chased out of the Qi family, my mother was there watching. Qi Ling's head was still lowered. I know that she wasn't powerful enough to resist father, but why didn't she dare to say a word? Even if she had said a word, at least, I wouldn't have felt so bad. She did not hate her mother, nor did she blame her. She was only sad that her mother was too timid to say a word and could only watch as they left the Qi family. Even Aunt Yun, who was not related by blood, was willing to risk her life for her. Why was her mother so timid? Wasn't there a saying that goes, "A weak woman makes a strong mother"? If I have a child in the future, I will never let my mother be bullied. Luckily, I'm not a good-for-nothing in real life. In the future, I can protect my brother. I still have to go to Nemesis Forest to find Aunt Yun. When she said the last sentence, Qi Ling's eyes shone brightly as if she had become a completely different person. Actually, even Yun Luofeng did not know that even though she and Qi Ling had only known each other for a short period of time, she had a very good impression of her. This kind of good impression was innate, and even she did not understand why she felt this way. Qi Ling, I've just transferred a lot of spiritual energy into your body. This spiritual energy is very pure and it's still in your body. Now, absorb it and it will help you increase your power. Hearing this, Qi Ling immediately crawled out of Yun Luofeng's arms obediently and sat down cross-legged to absorb the spiritual energy in her body. Originally, Yun Luofeng thought that it would only take a month to come out. Who knew that Qi Ling had already spent 3 months cultivating? During these 3 months, Yun Luofeng did not stop cultivating either. She would occasionally find spiritual beasts to fight. As a result, her cultivation had more or less stabilized, and she had also gained a firm foothold in the divine spirit realm. Of course, Yun Luofeng's greatest gain was that a month ago, she had unintentionally entered a cave and noticed that quite a few people had died in that cave. Moreover, due to some unknown reason, the aura of death left behind by those people had not dissipated. Instead, it had gathered in the cave. Therefore, Yun Luofeng released the skeleton core. After absorbing the aura of death, the strength of the skeleton core soared to the high-level Holy Spirit level, only a step away from becoming a god. Although the skeleton core was only a high-level Holy Spirit, Yun Luofeng believed that they would not lose to a divine spirit. Now, with the improvement of the skeleton core, Yun Luofeng's power had increased by quite a bit. The gold-seeking mice had been desperately eating elixirs in the past few months and all of them had reached the Holy Spirit realm. Milk Tea and the Rat Queen were on the verge of breaking through and were only a step away from becoming a god. Unfortunately, Fire and TT had not found a way to increase their strength. As for little Mo, there was no need to worry. His strength was born from the divine grimoire space. Chapter 1820. With the expansion of the divine grimoire space, little Mo's strength would increase. The little tree had recently begun to cultivate diligently. Originally, he was the strongest among everyone. Now, even Milk Tea and the rest were about to surpass him. How could he not be anxious? Fortunately, he had reached the half-step void realm earlier and would probably be the first among all the spirit beasts to break through to the divine spirit realm. Spirit River Mountain. A group of people were standing with the spirit beasts in front of them. The person who was being protected in the middle was a pretty young girl in pink robes. She looked very adorable and delicate. However, her body had been stained with blood and her delicate features looked a little pale. "Your Highness, we'll protect you and leave this place first," the leader of the guard said. His face showed that he was unafraid of death. "No, I can't leave." The girl's eyes were filled with fear, but her voice was extremely determined. If I leave, this mission will be in vain. Princess, if you don't leave, won't you be fulfilling those people's wishes? They deliberately let you find the mysterious heart grass because they want to use the spirit beasts on Spirit River Mountain to deal with you. The guard's face was filled with anxiety. He looked at these ferocious spirit beasts worriedly. It wasn't that the royal family didn't have experts, but how could those people let the princess take those experts away? They deliberately used the princess's filial piety to force the princess to find the mysterious heart grass. This way, the princess would definitely die. Those people were really ruthless. Just as the group of guards were persuading the girl, a huge spirit beast suddenly broke through the chest of the guard in front of him. The guard immediately fell to the ground. At the same time, the spirit beast had already rushed in front of the girl. The girl's face was pale from fright. Her body couldn't move and her eyes were filled with fear. She could only watch as the spirit beast pounced on her. Swish! The girl thought that she was dead for sure. However, at this moment, a piercing sound was heard. A branch flew from behind and pierced into the head of the spirit beast. The spirit beast's claws were only a millimeter away from the girl. With a bang, it fell from the sky and landed heavily on the ground. But it wasn't over yet. A few spirit beasts that were entangled with the guards were also pierced by the branches and fell to the ground without any warning. Everyone was stunned as they looked in the direction where the tree branch had come from. Then, they saw a woman in white slowly walking out of the thicket. This woman was very young, around 20 years old. She had a devastatingly beautiful face that made it hard for anyone to ignore her. "Young lady, did you save us just now?" A guard cupped his fists respectfully and asked aloud. This woman looked young, but to be able to appear in the depths of the Ling River Mountain, how could she be an ordinary person? "Ah, Sister Moo, it's you." Just as the crowd was trying to guess the woman's identity, a small head popped out from behind her and stuck out her tongue. "Just now, Big Sister Yun said that someone was disturbing our cultivation, so we came out to take a look. I didn't think that the ones in trouble would be you." "You're..." The girl was stunned. "You're Qi Ling. Qi Su's sister. Why are you here?" After hearing their conversation, Yun Luofeng slowly retracted his aura. So they were old acquaintances of the Qi siblings. An innocent smile appeared on Qi Ling's face. "It was Sister Yun who brought me here. She said she had a way to help me cultivate, so I came here with Sister Yun." "Oh, that's right, Sister Yun is my master. She was the one who stopped me from being a trash." Chapter 1821. Master. Yun Luofeng paused for a moment, but he didn't refute Qi Ling. "Really? You can cultivate now?" The girl's eyes shone with excitement. "That's great. By the way, is your brother all right?" When she mentioned Qi Su, the young girl's face turned red, and her face was filled with shyness. Seeing this, Yun Luofeng curled his lips. The relationship between this girl and Qi Su was probably not as simple as friends. To be able to remember Qi Su when he was in dire straits, such a woman was worth befriending. "My brother is very good, but I was almost sold by the Qi family." Qi Ling pursed her lips, looking aggrieved. "What?" The girl was shocked. "You said that the Qi family wanted to sell you. When did that happen? How could they do such a thing? I thought it would be good for you and your sister to leave the Qi family, but I didn't expect those people to be so heartless. Selling their daughter. The Qi family wasn't that poor. They just felt that Qi Ling was useless and wanted to exchange him for something else. Needless to say, this was all Qi Mo's idea." At the thought of this, the girl was filled with anger. Qi Mo was an idiot who wasn't even worthy of carrying Qi Su's shoes. She really didn't know what Qi Zheng was thinking. Sister Mu, I remember that the Emperor seems to be sick. How is he now? A year ago, when they were chased out of the Qi family, the Emperor of Drifting Wind Country was seriously ill. As a princess, she couldn't send them off. The girl's eyes darkened. Father's health is getting worse and worse. This time, his concubines asked me to come to the Spirit River Mountain to look for the profound heart grass. They claimed that father loves me the most, and if I don't look for the profound heart grass, it would be unfilial. Actually, they don't need to say such things. As long as there's a little hope of saving father, I won't give up. Profound heart grass. Yun Luofeng glanced at the girl. There's no profound heart grass on the Spirit River Mountain. What? The girl's expression changed. Impossible. Imperial concubine Qin said that the profound heart grass is deep in the Spirit River Mountain. How can there be no profound heart grass here? I'm telling the truth. I've been in the Spirit River Mountain for 3 months, but I've never seen the profound heart grass. Qi Ling also echoed, my big sister Yun is right. There is no profound heart grass in the Spirit River Mountain. You must have been deceived by those people. Actually, Qi Ling didn't know what the mysterious heart grass was. She only knew that what Yun Luofeng said was right. The girl's legs went soft and she almost fell to the ground. She bit her lip tightly and said angrily, it's fine if they want to harm me, but if they drag father's illness down because of this, father will die. Your Highness, this subordinate has already said that those people have bad intentions. They all want to cause trouble for your Highness. The guard next to the young girl hurriedly helped her up and said bitterly. Ever since His Majesty fell ill, those people who were like wolves and jackals had treated the princess this way. They wanted to kill her even more. How could they, who were loyal to the princess, not be angry? Thank you. The young girl stood up. Not only did you save me just now, you also told me that there was no mysterious heart grass in the Spirit River Mountain. Otherwise, I'm afraid I would have continued deeper. By the way, I haven't asked for your name yet. My name is Mu Shuoxin. Yun Luofeng. Yun Luofeng said with a faint smile. Mu Shuoxin was a little dazed. It wasn't easy for her to find a way to save her royal father, but she didn't expect that it was a plot by those people to harm her. Chapter 1822. Sister Mu, are your father's concubines bullying you at home? Qi Ling looked at Mu Shuoxin worriedly. In the imperial city, after Aunt Yun's death, he and his brother had a mishap. Only Mu Shuoxin had treated them the same. That was why Qi Ling liked her. Mu Shuoxin's eyes darkened. Qi Zheng is proposing to the royal family on behalf of Qi Mo. Those people have already agreed. What? Qi Ling shouted anxiously and grabbed Mu Shuoxin's arm. Sister Mu, you can't marry him. He's a bad guy. He even hit me. Mu Shuoxin's heart tightened. She looked at Qi Ling nervously. Qi Mo hit you. Where did he hit you? Does it hurt? It doesn't hurt, but I hate him. Qi Ling pouted. She suddenly thought of something and turned to Yun Luofeng. Sister Yun, can we save the emperor? If the emperor wakes up, Sister Mu won't have to marry that bad guy. Yun Luofeng's eyes flashed and he nodded. Qi Su wants to go to the imperial city to develop. We'll go to the palace to visit him. Okay. Qi Ling finally smiled. In her opinion, Yun Luofeng was so capable that he would definitely be able to cure the emperor. Mu Shuoxin did not say much about Yun Luofeng's words. She smiled bitterly and shook her head, her eyes filled with sorrow. There were so many famous physicians in Drifting Wind Country, but none of them were able to save his father. He had consumed countless spiritual medicine, but there was still no improvement. No matter how powerful Qi Ling's master was, she wouldn't be able to save him. Thinking of this, she sighed softly. Her mother was her father's most beloved woman, but she died during childbirth. However, her father did not blame her for harming her mother. Instead, he doted on her and did not have an empress for many years. This made some people jealous. If her father died, she would no longer have any relatives in this world. What was the point of living then? Moreover, those people wanted her to marry Qi Mo. Since there's no mystic heart grass here, let's go back to the palace first. Qi Ling, if you see your brother, help me greet him. Mu Shuexin looked at Qi Ling and said solemnly, also, don't tell him about me. I don't want him to go back and stand up for me. He was no match for the Qi clan, especially now that the Qi clan had the support of the royal family. Big sister Mu, don't you want to see big brother? Qi Ling bit her lip and stared at Mu Shuexin without blinking. Mu Shuexin's fingers trembled as she shook her head with a bitter smile. What's the point of seeing him? He can't help me. Moreover, she did not want him to be involved in these matters. All right. Qi Ling lowered her head in disappointment, but when she remembered that they were going to the imperial city soon, she pulled herself together. Big sister Mu, big brother, and I will look for you. Mu Shuexin's body stiffened. She wanted to say something, but she didn't say anything in the end. Yun Luofeng looked at the sky, then at Qi Ling. It's getting late, we should go down the mountain. Otherwise, your brother will think that I've kidnapped you. Qi Ling nodded and grabbed Yun Luofeng's hand. Her delicate, jade-like face lit up with an innocent smile. Sister Yun, let's hurry up and leave. I miss my brother. This was the first time she had left her brother for such a long time. Yun Luofeng did not say much. She hugged Qi Ling's body and leaped into the air. Her body instantly turned into a ray of light and shot into the distance, Maplewood Town. Inside the courtyard, Shiyu stood outside the study. After pondering for a long time, she finally pushed open the door and walked in. Chapter 1823. She immediately saw the young man sitting in front of the desk and bit her lips. Young master, you let Miss leave with a strange woman. Are you really at ease? It's been more than 3 months and Miss hasn't returned yet. I'm afraid she's already in danger. Shiyu's eyes were filled with anxiety. She really didn't understand. She was just a woman he had never met before. Why did the young master trust her so much? The young man frowned and looked up at Shiyu. Firstly, she's not a strange woman. Secondly, Xiaoling is my younger sister. Would I, as her brother, harm her? Young master, that's not what I meant. Shiyu was sweating profusely. I'm worried that the woman lied to you. Young master, you're kind-hearted and easily trusting others. Perhaps Qi family purposely found a woman who looks similar to Lord Yuqing. Their goal is for you. Bang! The young man threw the pen in his hand on the table and said coldly, Shiyu, don't forget your identity. Aren't you being too nosy? How could he not be worried about Qi Ling? However, worrying about Qi Ling didn't mean that he didn't trust Yun Luofeng. He was just afraid that the two of them were in danger. Back then, Yun Yuqing claimed that he would leave for a year. In the end, he didn't return for 3 years. Young master, you've changed. Shiyu took 2 steps back and looked at Qi Su in disbelief. You used to put Miss in the most important position and consider everything for her. Now, she's been missing for 3 months. Can you still trust that woman? I can guarantee that the woman will never come back after taking Miss away. Qi Su's face was livid and he slammed his palm on the table. Shiyu, you, young master, you're too disappointing. Shiyu glanced at Qi Su and turned to walk out. If you're not going to look for Miss, I'll go. I'll bring Miss Ling back. Chi Su's expression became even uglier. If he didn't know that Shiyu was loyal to him and that she dared to disobey him because she was worried about Qi Ling, he would have slapped her to death. Stop. I trust Miss Yun. You're not allowed to go. Shiyu's footsteps paused, and the disappointment in her eyes grew. It seemed that she had never thought that the young master would be blinded by beauty, so much so that he would not even care about the young Mississippi. Young master, I believe in my intuition. She won't come back. If I've wronged her, then I'll be her slave for the rest of my life to pay for the mistakes I've made. Shiyu raised her head and looked straight at the courtyard in front of her. Her voice was powerful and full of determination. However, at this moment, in the void in front of him, two familiar figures suddenly entered his eyes. The woman's clothes were as white as snow, fluttering in the wind. In her arms was a little Lolita that was carved from jade, and she was rushing over at an extremely fast speed. Miss? Shiyu looked at the two people descending from the sky and suddenly cried out involuntarily. His words were still echoing in the courtyard. It was as if a hand had slapped her hard in the face. It was extremely embarrassing. What came next was that her heart, which had been on tenterhooks for 3 months, could finally be at ease. Big brother, I'm back. The moment Yun Luofeng landed with Qi Ling in his arms, the little Lolita's soft voice rang out from the courtyard. In the study, Qi Su, who was immersed in writing, heard the little Lolita's voice. His pen slipped from his hand and he rushed out of the study like a madman. Chapter 1824. Before the little girl could react, she fell into a warm embrace. You're back, you're finally back. Qi Su's voice trembled. For the past 3 months, he had been suppressing his worries, afraid that others would be as worried as he was. He was afraid that Yun Luofeng and Qi Ling would be like his master and never return. He did not want to experience the pain of losing a loved one a second time. Brother, I'm sorry. I was cultivating and forgot the time. I came back late. Sensing Qi Su's concern, Qi Ling Xue stuck out her pink tongue and said innocently. Cultivating. You. Qi Su let go of the little girl in his arms and looked at her in surprise. You can cultivate. Under Qi Su's gaze, Qi Ling nodded slowly. After getting an affirmative answer, Qi Su's lips trembled, and tears of excitement fell uncontrollably. That's great, you can finally cultivate. That's really great. Qi Su wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and looked up at Yun Luofeng. Miss Yun, thank you. If not for you, I don't know when Xiao Ling would be able to cultivate. Yun Luofeng smiled faintly. Actually, Qi Ling's talent is not bad and she has the heart of a strong cultivator. You can let me cultivate her. I will let her grow up as fast as possible. Qi Su was overjoyed and hurriedly scolded, Xiao Ling, greet your master. In the beginning, Qi Ling had only regarded Yun Luofeng as her master but had still called her sister. However, Qi Su's words were equivalent to asking Qi Ling to acknowledge her as her master. Xiao Ling greets master. Qi Ling knelt down and stuck out her tongue coquettishly as she spoke with a smile. Shiyu's mouth had already dropped open in shock. This woman did not take the opportunity to kidnap the young miss. She even helped the young miss successfully embark on the path of cultivation. Thinking of how she had targeted Yun Luofeng previously, Shiyu's face flashed with shame. In reality, she did not particularly hate Yun Luofeng. She only felt that Yun Luofeng would be a burden to her master, which was why she had resisted her. However, her master had reprimanded her for this, which made her even angrier. Moreover, she had said such outrageous things because she was worried about Qi Ling. Now that she knew that Yun Luofeng had helped Qi Ling in her cultivation, the hatred in her heart dissipated. She just stood to the side and bit her lip, not saying a word. Shiyu, do you still remember what you said before? Chi-Su glanced at Shiyu and said, you said that if Miss Yun hadn't abducted Ling, you would have become her slave to make up for your mistake. Now that you're hers, you have nothing to do with us anymore. Young master. Shiyu's expression changed drastically, and she fell to her knees. I know I was wrong, please don't chase me away. It's too late. Chi-Su looked at Shiyu coldly. I know you look down on Miss Yun, but I've warned you before that she's not someone you can afford to offend. Yet you refuse to listen to me and even defy me time and time again. Why do you think I should continue to accept you? Just as Shiyu was about to continue begging for mercy, Yun Luofeng's devilish voice came from the side. Chi-Su, are you trying to force someone you don't want into my hands? I don't have the habit of accepting things that people don't want. Shiyu's expression stiffened. Her head fell to the ground, and she almost wanted to find a hole to burrow into. She was not weak at all, but in the end, these people all despised her. Chapter 1825. What's the reason why you don't want her? Chi-Su glanced at Shiyu. To be honest, he wanted Shiyu to submit to Yun Luofeng to test her spirit and make her understand that she couldn't afford to offend just anyone. She's too weak. I don't need her. Yun Luofeng was very honest, but the words he said made Shiyu's face pale. She didn't accept Shiyu not because of Shiyu's attitude towards her, but because she didn't like her strength. Chi-Su immediately fell silent. That's right. Yun Luofeng could create a divine spirit realm puppet. Why would he like Shiyu? Therefore, his refusal was reasonable. Since that's the case, I'll let Shiyu clean the backyard. He didn't plan on keeping Shiyu by his side, but he didn't chase her away for the sake of his master. Of course, he wouldn't stop her if she wanted to do it herself. Shiyu's expression didn't look good. She lowered her head and knelt on the ground. She'd rather clean the yard than be chased away. Otherwise, if Lord Yuqing was still alive, he definitely wouldn't let her off. Yes, Shiyu feared Yun Yuqing from the bottom of her heart. She remembered that 3 years ago, when she was being chased by a group of people, Yun Yuqing descended from the sky and saved her. Yun Yuqing was her savior and she should be grateful. That was how she felt. But compared to gratitude, she was more afraid. Yun Yuqing saved her and told her his purpose. He ordered her to stay by Chi-Su's side and protect him. If anything happened to Chi-Su, he'd make her pay with her life. Therefore, she didn't want her master to chase her out. Otherwise, Yun Yuqing would definitely kill her. She could even recall the murderous aura Yun Yuqing exuded when he said that. It was an aura that could kill her at any time. Thinking of this, Shiyu lowered her head and bit her lip. Master, I'm willing to clean the yard. I only ask that you allow me to stay by your side. Chi-Su paused and continued, although I told you to clean the yard, from now on, you must be respectful to Miss Yun. She's your #1 master. You must be more respectful to her than to me and Xiao Ling. Shiyu raised her head in surprise. Even though Yun Luofeng helped the young miss cultivate, her master wanted her to be more respectful to Yun Luofeng than to them. Was this just because he was grateful for Yun Luofeng's help? No matter how many questions she had, Shiyu didn't ask. She lowered her eyes and said, yes, young master. She had no choice. Furthermore, she believed from the bottom of her heart that a woman like Yun Yuqing would never die in Nemesis Forest. You may leave. I have something to say to Miss Yun. Chi-Su didn't make things difficult for him anymore, but his indifferent tone revealed that he didn't want to waste any more time talking to Shiyu. Shiyu stood up from the ground and slowly retreated. When she looked at Yun Luofeng, there was no longer any hatred in her eyes. At most, there was only some unwillingness. Miss Yun. After Shiyu left, Chi Su turned his gaze towards Yun Luo Feng. While you were away, I reached another agreement with the second prince of the kingdom of Tianqi. What agreement? Yun Luo Feng asked, raising his eyebrows. It's like this. We want to go to the imperial city to develop, but the Qi clan will definitely not accommodate us. Perhaps we will be suppressed very badly in the imperial city. Even though they had the spirit-gathering liquid in their hands, if the Qi clan were to suppress them, their journey in the imperial city would be extremely difficult. Chapter 1826. That was why Chi Su had so many concerns. That's why I'm planning to use the second prince's name to open this medicine hall. As a reward, he will have priority in purchasing anything in our medicine hall. Even though Yun Luo Feng provided the second prince with a lot of spirit-gathering liquid every month, who would complain about having too much of it? In reality, there were other reasons why the second prince was willing to agree to this request. He was certain that the person who provided the spirit-gathering liquid would definitely be someone important in the future. He would not be at a disadvantage to befriend such a person. That's right, he was referring to the person who provided the spirit-gathering liquid, not Chi Su. After all, second brother Chi believed that Chi Su must have had help from an expert since he could not produce the spirit-gathering liquid. Second brother Chi would never have thought that the expert he was referring to was Yun Luo Feng. You've thought it through. Yun Luo Feng stroked his chin as a glint flashed across his eyes. When Qi Ling and I went to cultivate, we met Mu Shuoxin. Chi Su's body trembled when he heard that name, and a look of nostalgia flashed across his eyes. Yun Luo Feng had been observing his expression. When she saw the emotions in his eyes, she concluded that Chi Su and Mu Shuoxin's relationship was not ordinary. She continued to stare at Chi Su. Mu Shuoxin said that the royal family wants to marry her to Qi Mo. We don't have to be afraid of the Qi family, but if we want to achieve something in the imperial city, it's best to avoid trouble from the royal family. As expected, Chi Su was stunned when he heard that Mu Shuoxin was going to marry Qi Mo. Then, an imperceptible pain flashed across his eyes. At first, he thought that Mu Shuoxin had a one-sided crush on him. Now, it seemed that she had feelings for him. However, because Chi Su had been chased out of the Qi family, he could only suppress his feelings for Mu Shuoxin. Perhaps even Qi Ling didn't notice this. Chi Su's pain only lasted for a moment, and he quickly recovered. Actually, even without the marriage between Mu Shuoxin and Qi Mo, I have to worry about the royal family because concubine Qin is my father's sister. Concubine Qin. Yun Luofeng's eyes flashed. If she remembered correctly, Mu Shuoxin had said that Qin Fei wanted to frame her. Chi Su, when the medicinal hall opens, don't let anyone know that the second prince is here. After all, he's the prince of Tianqi nation. He might not be able to get the approval to open a medicinal hall in Drifting Wind Nation. Hearing this, Chi Su was startled. He had never thought about this before. Everything that happens after that will be logical. The shop is already open. What else can we do? Yun Luo Feng narrowed his eyes. Actually, my concerns are different from yours. You are worried that the royal family and the Qi family will suppress the medicinal hall, but do you think that something like the spirit-gathering elixir can be suppressed? If people knew that you were the one who opened the medicinal hall, those shameless people would definitely seize it by force. If it was the prince of another country, in order to avoid a conflict between the two countries, they wouldn't dare to seize it by force. Chi Su's face stiffened. Yun Luo Feng was right. With those people's characters, they would definitely snatch away the spirit-gathering liquid. If the Qi family asks, tell them that you've already sold the recipe to the second prince. Yun Luo Feng shrugged. Since someone was willing to take the blame, how could she refuse? Miss Yun, I understand. When are we going to the Imperial City? Chi Su calmed down and asked. Pack your things, we'll leave now. Yun Luofeng's words made Chi Su excited. Only the heavens knew how depressed he had been for the past year. He never thought that he would be able to return. He would definitely let those people understand how big of a mistake it was to chase him away. Chapter 1827. Brother, are we going home? Qi Ling's little face lit up with a happy smile compared to her previous resistance towards the Imperial City. If we go back, does that mean Sister Mu doesn't have to marry Qi Mo? After all, you were the one who was engaged to Sister Mu previously. Engaged? Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows and looked at Chi Su subconsciously. His lips curled into a smile. Xiao Ling, don't talk nonsense. Chi Su's expression changed, and he immediately scolded her. Mu, her and I are siblings. Oh. Qi Ling pursed her lips. She still remembered that not long before they left, Big Sister Mu had confessed to her brother. However, her brother said that he only treated her as his younger sister. Since then, she had never wanted Mu Shuexin to be her sister-in-law. However, she still didn't want Sister Mu, whom she liked, to marry someone she hated. Chi Su. Yun Luofeng glanced at Chi Su plainly. The person I choose can't be so cowardly that he doesn't even dare to pursue feelings. Then, what else can I expect you to do for me? Yun Luofeng's words were very serious, but they easily struck Chi Su's heart, causing him to feel a sudden pain. Mu Shuexin was a princess, but she didn't have the temperament of a princess. She even stood by his side when he was in dire straits. How could he not like such a woman? However, she was a princess, and he had already been chased out of his family. He was constantly in danger. How could he drag her down under such a situation? Yun Luofeng's words were like a bucket of wisdom pouring over him. He was instantly enlightened. Yes, he was so cowardly that he didn't dare to face his own heart. What right did he have to do things for her? Thank you, Miss Yun. Chi Su's face was filled with gratitude. I understand. I won't give up in the future. He was no longer the Chi Su of the past. He had the ability to bring Mu Shuexin a superior life. Imperial City. The Qi family. Qi Zheng was sitting in the study with his eyes closed. Suddenly, he heard footsteps coming from outside the door and opened his eyes with a swoosh. Creak. The door of the study was pushed open, and Qi Mo walked in. He frowned and said, Father, I've already investigated the matter you asked me to investigate. Oh. A glint flashed across Qi Zheng's eyes. What's the background of the woman who follows Chi Su? No background. No background. No background again. Qi Zheng's expression was somewhat ugly. Back then, Yun Yueqing also had no background. This woman looked so similar to Yun Yueqing. Could they be related? Could she be Yun Yueqing's daughter? How could such a virtuous woman marry and give birth to a daughter? Qi Zheng wouldn't believe it. Because in this world, there was probably no man that could enter Yun Yueqing's eyes. Father, even if she really has a relationship with Yun Yueqing, do we need to be afraid of her? She's just a young woman. Could he be stronger than Yun Yueqing? Qi Mo looked disapproving. Qi Zheng took a deep breath and continued to ask, Have you found anything about the man who helped Qi Su? At this point, Qi Mo's expression darkened. He's the second prince of Tianqi. In fact, second brother Qi's identity was not a secret. It was just that Qi Zheng did not think about it at first. It was only when he sent someone to investigate that he found out the other party's identity. The second prince of Tianqi. Qi Zheng exclaimed. Why is the second prince of Tianqi helping him? Qi Mo's expression turned uglier. I got news from Maplewood Town that Qi Su has already sold the formula of the spirit-gathering liquid to the second prince of Tianqi. Chapter 1828. Father. After saying that, Qi Mo said indignantly, "What right does that bastard Qi Su have to do that? What right does he have to sell my formula to someone else? That belongs to the Qi family." That's right. Until now, Qi Mo still felt that the formula of the spirit-gathering liquid belonged to the Qi family. Qi Su selling the formula to the second prince was equivalent to selling the Qi family's possession. As the heir of the Qi family, how could she be willing to do that? No wonder. Qi Jing closed his eyes unwillingly and only opened them after a long while. I was wondering why the second prince of the kingdom of Tianqi would help him for no reason. It turns out that he's also eyeing the formula. This Qi Su is really a traitor. He doesn't know how to show filial respect to the Qi clan when he has something good. He could have sold it to the Qi clan, but he gave it to someone else. Father, what should we do now? Qi Mo was furious. He was furious when he thought about how his formula had been taken away. Qi Mo, don't worry about that. In a few months, the fourth princess will be a member of the Qi family. Go and look for her first. Qi Zheng looked at Qi Mo and said. Qi Mo was stunned. Mu Shuoxin's pretty face appeared in his mind, and greed and determination flashed across his eyes. From the first time he saw the fourth princess, he was deeply fascinated. Who knew that Qi Su was the one who was engaged to the royal family, and the fourth princess only had eyes for him? Why? He was the eldest son of the Qi family. Why wasn't he the one who was engaged? Fortunately, the emperor was seriously ill and Yun Yueqing's life was unknown. That was why he had the chance to marry the princess. Also, Qi Zheng hesitated for a while and continued, the fourth princess can only be your concubine. She can't be your wife. What? Qi Mo was shocked. Let the fourth princess be his concubine. Would the royal family allow it? Qi Zheng saw Qi Mo's surprise and paused. This is your aunt's order. If you marry the fourth princess, she can only be your concubine. Qi Mo's aunt was Qi Qin, who hated Mu Shuoxin to the bone. Given how much Qi Qin hated Mu Shuoxin, how could she allow her to be his wife? She could only be a concubine. So be it. I just want her. Besides, if I marry a princess of the royal family as my wife, how am I going to take in concubines in the future? Qi Mo licked his lips. If she's a concubine, she won't be able to control me. Qi Su, don't think that I don't know that even if you keep rejecting Mu Shuoxin, you still have her in your heart. I want to let you know that the woman you like is only fit to be my concubine, to be played by me. At that time, you will definitely suffer for the rest of your life. Qi Mo laughed out loud as if he could imagine Qi Su's painful expression. Following that, Qi Zheng's words filled him with joy. Mo, get ready to welcome your mother back to the mansion in a few days. I want to give her an identity. Yes, father. At that moment, Qi Mo felt that he was a winner in life. Not only did he have power and influence, but now that his mother had returned, it was only a matter of time before she became the official wife of the Qi family. How could Qi Su compare? That guy was only fit to look up at her. You may leave. Qi Jing waved his hand and looked at Qi Mo with love in his eyes. Qi Mo cupped his fists and left. He wanted to look for the fourth princess and let her understand that it was the best choice to rely on him, in the inner courtyard of the palace. Mu Yiran was lying unconscious on the bed. His face was pale and his breathing was weak. A beautiful woman in palace attire lay beside him. There were tears on her face, but she didn't look sad. Instead, she looked fake. Chapter 1829. Imperial Concubine Qin. At this moment, a voice came from outside. Her Highness the Fourth Princess has returned. What? Imperial Concubine Qin was shocked. That girl didn't die. As there were still some officials in the room, Imperial Concubine Qin immediately felt that her reaction was too intense, but she quickly concealed it. A smile appeared on her face. It's good that this girl is back. She must have brought back the profound heart grass. His Majesty can be saved now. Hearing this, the ministers also became excited. The country could not be without a ruler. If His Majesty was unconscious, the drifting wind country would be annexed eventually. Greetings, Your Highness. A row of greetings came from outside the door. Following that, a lily-white hand pushed open the door and rushed into the room. Imperial Concubine Qin was the first to welcome her. She had a smile on her face, but it was a fake one. Your Highness, did you bring back the profound heart grass? If you did, then hurry up and take it out. Or do you not want to save His Majesty? At the mention of the profound heart grass, Mu Shuoxin's eyes were filled with fire as she glared at her. You still dare to say that? You lied to me that there was profound heart grass in the Spirit River Mountain. I turned the entire mountain upside down but couldn't find it. What? Imperial Concubine Qin covered her mouth in shock. Your Highness, you said that you turned the entire Spirit River Mountain upside down. According to what I know, there are countless dangers in the Spirit River Mountain. If you really turned it over, would you be able to stand here safe and sound? In my opinion, you're the coward who didn't dare to go to the Spirit River Mountain, right? Mu Shuoxin sneered. Since Imperial Concubine Qin knows that there are countless dangers in the Spirit River Mountain, why did you force me to go there? Instead, you hid in the palace. You said that you're infatuated with father, but I couldn't tell. Imperial Concubine Qin's expression was a bit awkward as she laughed. I need to take care of His Majesty. How can I leave? Furthermore, as His Majesty's daughter, you should take risks for His Majesty. Is that so? If that's the case, why didn't Imperial Concubine Qin send me the experts in the palace? There are no experts in the palace, but the Qi family seems to have many experts, right? Mu Shuoxin's words caused Imperial Concubine Qin to freeze. The officials in the room all turned to look at Qin Fei. Qin Fei didn't have any hatred towards the former empress. After all, when the empress passed away, the Qi family hadn't gained power yet. Qin Fei naturally hadn't seen the former empress. However, she hated Mu Shuoxin. It was precisely because the emperor doted on Mu Shuoxin that she was very unhappy. Mu Shuoxin was just a daughter. She had given birth to a son. She had never seen the emperor dote on her son so much. When Yun Yueqing was still around, Qin Fei didn't dare to be too presumptuous because she knew Yun Yueqing's character. If Yun Yueqing found out about her true character, he definitely wouldn't support the Qi family anymore. In addition, Mu Shuoxin and Qi Su had a good relationship. Qi Su was also a protective person, so it was even more impossible for him to bully Mu Shuoxin. Thus, concubine Zither's character had only been revealed a year after Yun Yueqing had left. Empress Qin, what you're doing is completely disregarding the fourth princess. One of the officials couldn't stand it anymore and his face turned ashen. If something happens to the princess, how can this official explain it to His Majesty? They knew that Mu Shuoxin had gone to the Spirit River Mountain, so they didn't stop her. After all, there were many experts in the imperial family. However, they didn't expect that Qin Fei wouldn't hand those experts over to Mu Shuoxin. Chapter 1830. The difference between the Wind Cloud continent and other places was that as long as a woman had the ability, she could also participate in politics. With the emperor unconscious, Qin Fei was the only woman to be made a concubine. The others were just concubines and nobles. Adding on the fact that the only prince in the palace was born by Qin Fei, she naturally held power. Of course, this was also related to the Qi family's help. Father. Mu Xuexin slowly walked towards the bed. Looking at the man who was breathing weakly on the bed, the rims of her eyes turned red. Don't worry, I will definitely find a way to save you even if I have to exhaust my life. Qin Fei was indeed disdainful towards this. Your Highness, it's useless no matter what you say. If you really have the ability, then bring a doctor who can treat His Majesty. Mu Xuexin coldly stared at Qin Fei and didn't say anything more. She pushed the door open and walked out. She wanted to go back to the princess' residence to rest, but just as she walked to the door, she saw a figure coming over. She frowned. Fourth princess. Qi Mo saw Mu Xuexin immediately. His eyes were filled with desire as he stared at the beautiful woman in front of him. He couldn't wait to pounce on her and eat her up. Why are you here? Because of concubine Qin, Mu Xuexin was furious whenever she saw the Qi family. Of course, the Qi Su siblings were an exception. Your Highness, what are you talking about? I am your fiancé. Do I need a reason to come here to see my fiancé? Qi Mo looked at Mu Xuexin greedily and swallowed his saliva. A lewd smile appeared on his feminine face. His gaze was too direct, so direct that Mu Xuexin's heart was filled with rage. Impudent! Who allowed you to call yourself this princess's fiancé? This princess will never marry you. Qi Mo sneered. He grabbed Mu Xuexin's hand and touched her chest with the other. This time, Mu Xuexin was completely enraged. She stepped on Qi Mo's foot and slapped him when he retracted his hand in pain. With a slap, the entire world became quiet. Qi Mo was stunned. He did not expect Mu Xuexin to hit him. His temper flared up, and he glared at her fiercely. Mu Xuexin, do you really think that I won't dare to do anything to you just because you're a princess? Wasn't it because the emperor doted on you in the past that you used to be a tyrant? Let me tell you, the current imperial family is already Qin Fei's world. If the emperor dies, Qin Fei's son will naturally be the next emperor. Mu Xuexin widened her eyes, and her body trembled in anger. You're treacherous. Treason. So what? Anyway, it's impossible for your old emperor to recover. The imperial doctors have also determined that he won't live for more than a few months. The country cannot be without a ruler for a single day. In the future, I'll be the little emperor's cousin. You can't wait to curry favor with me. It was no wonder that Qi Mo would say something like that. His little cousin was the emperor's only son, so he would be the next emperor. Once the emperor died, the Qi family would have the final say in the imperial family. Father won't die. If you curse him again, I won't forgive you. Mu Xuexin's face was pale, and her body was trembling as if she would collapse at any moment. Qi Mo smiled disdainfully. Mu Xuexin, you probably don't know that Qin Fei has already betrothed you to me as my concubine. You'll only be my concubine in the future. Do you still think you're a high and mighty princess? What right do you have to be so arrogant in front of me? Chapter 1831. Especially since this woman had slapped him. He would return the slap in the future. Qi Mo's eyes were filled with hostility. At that moment, Mu Xuexin was shocked by Qi Mo's words. She had never expected concubine Qin to be so bold as to make a princess like her a concubine. Qi Mo, I won't let you get away with it. Mu Xuexin gritted her teeth and looked at Qi Mo hatefully. No matter what happens in the future, I'm still a princess. You'd better be more respectful. Otherwise, I won't let you off. At this point, Mu Xuexin walked around Qi Mo. When she walked past him, she didn't forget to bump into him with her shoulder. Bitch. Qi Mo looked at Mu Xuexin's back and said sinisterly, I'll let you be arrogant for a while longer. After you become my concubine, there will be a day when you beg for mercy. These words naturally fell into the ears of the departing Mu Xuexin. The moment she closed the door, tears flowed down her cheeks uncontrollably. Qi Su, although you rejected me before, I've already decided on you in my heart. She took out a jade pendant. It was the token of engagement between her and Qi Su when Yun Wuqing was still around. At that time, I've already considered going to Maplewood Town to look for you when father recovers. If you love me, I'll follow you no matter how hard it is. If you don't love me, I'll be your sister and have no regrets. But now, I can't wait for that day. Qi Su, do you know that the reason why I've persevered these days is not only because of you, but also because of my father who has always loved me. I want to do my best to save him. Mu Xuexin lowered her eyes, which were filled with sadness. So, if father really can't be saved, I'd rather follow him than be humiliated by Qi Mo. A good woman wouldn't marry a second husband. Not only was she engaged to Qi Su, but she had also given her his heart. Therefore, she would never allow herself to marry a second man. If she couldn't keep her innocence, what was the point of living? Mu Xuexin's body collapsed to the ground. She covered her face with her hands and cried silently. Imperial City. When Qi Su stepped into the luxurious street again, all sorts of feelings welled up in his heart, and his eyes were filled with nostalgia. Qi Su, tell me, how powerful is the Qi clan? Yun Luofeng turned to the man beside him and asked. Hearing this, Qi Su was stunned for a moment before replying seriously, the most powerful person in the Qi family is my father, Qi Jing. He has already broken through to the divine soul level and is only one step away from becoming a heavenly god. Miss Yun, I know that your power must be extraordinary, but there is a certain gap between heavenly gods. Yun Luofeng was stunned for a few seconds. She had thought that the Qi family was so powerful. No matter what, Qi Jing was a heavenly god. She did not expect that he was also a god spirit. It looked like even though there were many heavenly gods in a place like the Windy Cloud continent, there weren't so many that anyone could become a heavenly god. Miss Yun, don't doubt my words. Deities can sense the rules of the world, and the deeper one's understanding of the rules of the world, the more powerful they will be. Don't underestimate Qi Jing just because he has only been a deity for 5 years, but with the help of my master, he was invincible among the deities. Invincible among the deities. Yun Luofeng shrugged. Putting aside the fact that she had the dragon scale armor, even if she did not summon it, she might not lose to Qi Jing. What about the royal family? Yun Luofeng continued to ask. Chapter 1832. She needed to understand the royal family situation. The royal family situation is much more complicated. Qi Su glanced at Yun Luofeng. There are 2 godly supreme warriors in the royal family. Godly supreme warriors. Yun Luofeng's expression turned serious. After the divine spirit was the divine god, and after the divine god was the godly supreme warrior. The Qi family was known as the #1 family in Drifting Wind Country, second only to the royal family. Miss Yun, in a country, once you reach the level of a god king, you will be taken in by the royal family. From then on, you will leave this family and go to the royal family to enjoy supreme power. Qi Su paused before continuing, who wouldn't want to? Moreover, going to the royal family is much easier than building an organization with your life on the line. That's why the Qi family is the number one family. Who are the two godly supreme warriors? Yun Luofeng frowned and continued asking. They are the number one cultivators in Drifting Wind Country. They are above everyone else and their status is even higher than the emperor. Qi Su's gaze was solemn. However, these two people will not interfere with the royal family's matters. They will only ask the royal family to do things for them when they need it. It could be said that the two godly supreme warriors were the ones who truly controlled the royal family. However, these two godly supreme warriors usually only cared about cultivation and did not care about the royal family's matters. Therefore, the emperor was still the number one decision-maker in Drifting Wind Country. I understand. Yun Luofeng stroked her chin as her eyes flashed. Do you want to see your childhood sweetheart? Qi Su's handsome face blushed. He thought for a moment before saying, Miss Yun, I want to see her after I've made some achievements. I don't want her to worry about me. Moreover, he paused. I don't want too many people to know that I'm returning to the Imperial City for now. It's your own private matter. You can decide for yourself. I won't interfere. Yun Luofeng shrugged. Miss Yun, where are we going now? Where's the worst part of the Imperial City? Yun Luofeng narrowed her eyes as she asked. Qi Su was startled but immediately understood what she wanted to do. You're afraid that buying a shop in a good location would attract attention. That's why you chose the worst part. Yun Luofeng nodded. That's right. We can't attract attention for now. I know, in the Western City. Qi Ling interrupted without waiting for Qi Su's reply. Her little face was rosy, and her long eyelashes fluttered slightly. She was as cute as a doll. Come, let's go to the West City now. The two words, West City, caused Qi Su to be in a trance. Yun Luofeng saw the flash of emotion in his eyes but did not ask. She let Qi Su take her to the west side of the city. Compared to the luxurious East City, the West City was extremely deserted. Whether it was the shops or the streets, there were only a few people. An old blacksmith sat outside a deserted shop, the hammer in his hand constantly striking the sword in his hand that was burning red. The old blacksmith's face was very old, and his snow-white hair made him look very old. Just as he was immersed in his work, two familiar voices came from the front, causing his old body to suddenly stiffen. Uncle. The old blacksmith lifted his eyes and looked at the two people in front of him in disbelief. His eyes turned red, and his voice was filled with excitement. Ling, you're back. Uncle. Chapter 1833. Shock flashed across Yun Luofeng's eyes. This old man was Qi Su's uncle. Looking at his age, those who didn't know would think that he was his grandfather. However, Yun Luofeng quickly realized that this old man wasn't very old. He was probably only in his 30s or 40s, but for some reason, he looked so old. You're back. Does that bastard Qi Jing know? At the mention of Qi Jing, the old blacksmith's face was full of anger. He wanted to tear him into pieces. Uncle, how have you been this year? Qi Su's heart was filled with mixed feelings. Back then, when the Lin family was in trouble, his mother brought his uncle's family back to the Qi family. Because of his master, the Qi family treated them well. However, after his master's life was uncertain, the Qi family chased his uncle's family out. His grandfather's family was a family of blacksmiths. They forged weapons for others. They could have made a good living with their skills, but in the end, they were suppressed by the Qi family. Pretty good. The old blacksmith smiled reluctantly. It was obvious that he didn't want Qi Su to worry. Uncle, did mother come? Chi Su sighed and asked. The old blacksmith was stunned. Don't you know that your mother is locked up? This sentence caused Chi Su's expression to change greatly. That bastard Chi Jing locked my mother up. The old blacksmith smiled coldly. That inhumane bastard, what can't he do? A few months ago, your aunt fell ill. Your mother secretly brought some money over and wanted me to treat your aunt's illness. In the end, Chi Jing found out and brought a group of people to snatch the money back. He even beat your mother up. At this point, the old blacksmith sighed. He said that the silver belonged to the Chi family. Your mother was a freeloader in the Chi family. She didn't have the right to give it to an outsider. However, the Chi family's fortune was earned with your master's help. Chi Su clenched his fist tightly. Even though Qi Ling was unhappy that Lin Qin didn't speak up for them, she was still angry when she heard that her mother was beaten up. Uncle, how's aunt? Has she recovered? Chi Su asked worriedly. The old blacksmith's eyes darkened. Still the same. Furthermore, his condition had worsened. He might not live for more than a few days. Of course, he did not say this to Chi Su. Chi Su had already gone through a lot. How could he drag him down? Uncle, bring me to see aunt later. I want to talk about serious matters first. Chi Su's expression turned serious. Let me introduce you. This is Miss Yun Luo Feng Yun. She's also my master. Little Ling's master. Chi Su did not hide Yun Luofeng's identity in front of the old blacksmith. He was willing to become Yun Luofeng's subordinate. The old blacksmith looked at Yun Luofeng in surprise. His nephew had always been arrogant, but there was actually a day where he was willing to submit to others. This girl didn't look simple. Miss Yun, my uncle is a trustworthy person. Chi Su smiled and said. Yun Luofeng did not say much. She trusted Chi Su. Uncle, we came to the imperial city this time to open a medicinal hole. Uncle, are you willing to sell your smithy to us? Chi Su asked seriously. The old blacksmith smiled. If you want it, just take it. I don't have any business anyway. It's just a waste of time to leave it here. Chi Su was stunned and subconsciously looked at Yun Luofeng. Yun Luofeng nodded without hesitation. If that's the case, I'll accept this shop. As a reward, let me treat Chi Su's aunt's illness. Chapter 1834. The old blacksmith was stunned and turned to Chi Su. Your master, is a doctor. Miss Yun is not only a doctor, she is also very capable. If she is willing to treat aunt, then let her. Perhaps she can cure it. Chi Su smiled ambiguously. He had great confidence in Yun Luofeng. She was someone who even had the formula for the spirit-gathering solution. What else could she not do? All right. The old blacksmith was excited. To make it easier to take care of your aunt, she is now lying inside. Miss Yun, follow me. After the old blacksmith walked into the shop, Yun Luofeng followed him in. As soon as she entered the shop, she heard coughing sounds. She frowned slightly and slowly walked into the inner hall. There was a small bed in the inner hall. A pale woman was lying on the bed. She had heard the conversation outside, so she was not surprised to see Chi Su and his younger sister. Ling, it's good that you're back. They did not have to worry about these two children anymore. Aunt, don't speak. Chi Su quickly walked to the bed and held the woman's hand. His eyes were slightly red. Let Miss Yun take a look at you. The woman nodded. Thank you, Miss Yun. The old blacksmith and his wife did not have children, so they had always treated Chi Su and Qi Ling as their own. Her illness was caused by worrying about Chi Su and his sister. causing her to fall ill from worry. Because she could not get treatment, it became more and more serious. If Chi-Su had not returned, she would not have long to live. It's not a serious illness. Yun Luofeng glanced at the woman and concluded, Chi-Su, I have a few herbs here. Boil them for her and it will immediately cure her. The old blacksmith opened his mouth in shock. Miss Yun, how can I do that? Just tell us the formula. How can I let you spend money on me buying the herbs? First, the Qi family is bullying you. The entire medicinal hall in the imperial city is controlled by the Qi family. How can you buy the herbs? Yun Luofeng looked at the old blacksmith and said, Second, you gave me this shop for free. So what if I give you a few herbs? The old blacksmith immediately stopped talking. He knew that Yun Luofeng was speaking the truth. The Qi family would not sell the herbs to him. Even if he were to sell it, it would definitely be at a sky-high price. What's more, he didn't have much money on hand. Otherwise, he wouldn't be unable to hire a doctor. Also, Yun Luofeng paused for a moment. I see that your blacksmithing skills are not bad. Are you willing to help me forge something? Since he wanted to use puppets to control the wind cloud continent, he would need a large number of them. She obviously couldn't do it by herself. She wouldn't spend so much time on making puppets. Of course, puppets were different from the spirit-gathering elixir. He could let Chi-Su concoct the spirit-gathering elixir, but he had to control the puppets himself. Therefore, she only planned to let the old blacksmith make some basic things. In the end, it had to go through her hands in order to make the puppet work. This was the reason why she chose to help the old blacksmith. Of course, I will give you a decent salary. Yun Luofeng curled the corner of his mouth and slowly said. Seeing that the old blacksmith was still in a daze, Chi-Su became anxious and hurriedly said, Uncle, quickly agree to Miss Yun's request. Also, you must not tell anyone that Miss Yun is my master. Otherwise, it will bring trouble to Miss Yun. Chapter 1835. The old blacksmith returned to his senses and looked at Yun Luofeng gratefully. Miss Yun, thank you. If it wasn't for you, in the end, his voice was choked with sobs, and his eyes were filled with tears. Chi-Su is my man, so I want him to work for me without any worries. Yes. She had another reason for helping the old blacksmith. That was so that Chi-Su would not have any worries. This was the only way she could help him wholeheartedly. After the shop was settled, Yun Luofeng began to prepare for the opening. During these 3 months, Chi-Su did not do nothing. He had prepared quite a lot of spiritual gathering elixirs for this medicinal hall. With the spirit gathering liquid, he would be able to open the shop in the shortest time possible. However, these few days, Chi-Su noticed that Chi-Ling was frowning and had a listless look. At first, he thought that Chi-Ling was sick and asked Yun Luofeng to treat her. However, Yun Luofeng knew that this little girl had something on her mind when he looked at her. Chi-Su asked many times, but Chi-Ling only shook her head and said nothing. In the end, he could only give up. One day, when Yun Luofeng came out of the shop, Chi-Su held Chi-Ling's little hand and walked to her side. Miss Yun, the shop will open in 2 days. Why don't we take advantage of today and have a good meal? Previously in Maplewood Town, the medicinal ingredients in the medicine hall had been sold out due to the popularity of the spirit-gathering liquid. However, Chi-Su did not hand over the money to the Qi family. He had always kept it in his hands. Therefore, he could afford to treat Yun Luofeng to a meal. Yun Luofeng thought for a while and said, All right, let's go. Chi-Su smiled. I know a restaurant in the Imperial City that serves good food. Unfortunately, it's hard to book a private room there. I'll have to trouble Miss Yun to stay in the hall. It's fine. Yun Luofeng shrugged. She did not care about these things. Also, Yun Luofeng paused and glanced at Qi Ling. You should bring Qi Ling around to relax. No matter what, Qi Ling was only a 5-year-old little girl. After experiencing so many changes, it was inevitable that she would be a little depressed. Moreover, Yun Luofeng really liked this little girl. Qi Ling looked as if she wanted to say something, but was hesitant to do so. Qi Su, Yun Luofeng seemed to see that Qi Ling wanted to say something. He paused, then said, "Can you let me talk to Qi Ling first?" Qi Su was a little surprised, but he knew that Qi Ling had been acting weird recently, so he didn't refuse. "All right, then I'll go to the Dragon and Phoenix restaurant first. Xiao Ling knows where it is. You can find me there after you're done talking." After saying this, he looked at Qi Ling worriedly, but in the end, he turned around and left. He was worried about Qi Ling, but it naturally had nothing to do with Yun Luofeng. He was just worried that Qi Ling was hiding something in her heart and was unwilling to say it out. "Your brother has left." Yun Luofeng lowered his head to look at Qi Ling and asked, "You've been conflicted for a few days. Don't you have anything to say to me?" Qi Ling bit her lip and lowered her head. I want to wait for Big Brother to establish himself in the Imperial City before going to Nemesis Forest. So, Master, can you take me there?" Actually, Yun Luofeng would have gone there himself even if Qi Ling hadn't asked. She only wanted to know if Yun Wuqing was by Ling because of the speculation in her heart. Chapter 1836. But, Yun Luofeng never thought that Qi Ling would have such an idea. "Qi Ling," Yun Luofeng was silent for a moment, "stay with your brother, I'll go find her." After all, Qi Ling was too young. How could she bring her to a place like Nemesis Forest? But, no buts. Yun Luofeng's expression darkened. "You're my disciple, so you must listen to me." Qi Ling felt wronged, but she would not disobey Yun Luofeng's words. She could only say, "All right, then I'll stay with brother." Hearing this, Yun Luofeng's expression softened. Her fingers gently stroked Qi Ling's head. "Don't worry, I'll definitely bring her back." With this guarantee, Qi Ling immediately beamed with joy. The matter that was hidden in her heart just now was also thrown out in an instant. "Master, Ling believes in you. Since Master has said so, and Yun will definitely return, right, Master? When I have time, I want to visit Sister Mu. I'm worried about her." Qi Ling blinked her large eyes and looked pitifully at Yun Luofeng. She was afraid that Yun Luofeng would reject her. Yun Luofeng was stunned. She thought of the bedridden emperor and concubine Qin, who was related to the Qi family. So, her eyes darkened slightly. "Master, if you don't want me to go, then I won't go." Qi Ling saw Yun Luofeng's gaze and thought that Yun Luofeng did not want her to interact with the royal family and said hurriedly, "I'm not asking you not to see her, it's just that." Yun Luofeng paused. "I need to find a suitable time to enter the palace. More importantly, even if Qi Ling wanted to see Mu Shuoxin, no one would let her. Unless, they could meet outside, but it was obvious that Mu Shuoxin was busy with the emperor's serious illness and had no time to wander outside. Qi Ling could not enter the palace, so naturally, she would not be able to see her. When the two of them stepped into the Dragon Phoenix restaurant, they saw Qi Su waiting for them. Qi Su's eyes lit up with joy. Just as she was about to welcome them, a disdainful voice sounded from the side. "Oh, I was wondering who it was. So it's the Qi siblings. You two drowning dogs still dare to return." Qi Su frowned a little. He coldly glanced to the side and immediately recognized a few people who were walking over. The leader of the group was a pair of brother and sister. The boy was handsome, but he looked like a ruffian. The corners of his mouth curled up into an arrogant smile. As for the woman beside her, she was dressed in gorgeous clothes, dignified, beautiful, and charming. However, when her beautiful eyes looked at Chi-Su, a trace of resentment appeared. That kind of resentment was like being abandoned by a lover, and love turned into hatred. Seeing the appearance of these two people, Chi Ling's body trembled and she subconsciously burrowed into Yun Luofeng's embrace. A trace of fear appeared on her small face. It was obvious that these two people had a great influence on Chi Ling when she was in the imperial city. Jiao Chao, Jiao Ku, why are you here? The world was too small. Chi-Su had not intended to let anyone know that he had returned. Who would have thought that he would actually meet the Jiao siblings at the entrance of the restaurant? Chi-Su. Jiao Ku looked at Chi-Su resentfully, then turned to look at Yun Luofeng. A trace of hatred flashed across his eyes. When I confessed to you previously, didn't you say that you would only marry Mu Shuoxin in this lifetime? Then who is this woman? You've fallen in love with someone else so quickly. It seems that you, Chi-Su, are only so. Chapter 1837. Of course, Jiao Ku had not said all this because of Mu Shuoxin. She had once been jealous of Mu Shuoxin for becoming Chi-Su's fiancé, while he had not treated her properly. However, Mu Shuoxin was a princess after all. So what if she was jealous? She did not have the guts to hate Mu Shuoxin, but she hated Chi-Su. At that time, she had already lost all her dignity. She was even willing to become a concubine, but Chi-Su had rejected her coldly. Fortunately, heaven had eyes. Chi-Su's backer had fallen and he had been chased out of the Chi family. At that time, she had mocked and ridiculed the Chi siblings. She had even secretly beaten Chi Ling up when no one was paying attention. If Chi-Su had not rushed over just in time, her men would have destroyed Chi Ling's innocence. As such, even though more than a year had passed, Chi Ling still felt fear from the bottom of her heart. Her entire body trembled in Yun Luofeng's arms. The past was unbearable. When Chi-Su recalled what these people had done, a murderous intent shot out from his cold eyes. Yun Luofeng knew Chi-Su's character. Under normal circumstances, he would not want to kill anyone unless the other party had done something infuriating. Coupled with Chi Ling's fear, it was not difficult to guess what these people had done to Chi Ling. As Yun Luofeng comforted Chi Ling, he swept a sinister glance at the few people who had approached him. His slightly narrowed eyes were already filled with an eerie chill. Jiao Ku, Chi-Su clenched his fists tightly. All I did was reject your request to be my concubine and you bear a grudge against me. You even took the opportunity to kidnap my sister. If I hadn't arrived in time, my sister would have died in your hands. How are we going to settle this score? At this moment, many people had gathered at the entrance of the restaurant. When they heard Chi-Su's words, they looked at Jiao Ku in shock. Their eyes were filled with disbelief and astonishment. Jiao Ku's beautiful face instantly turned pale. She was so angry that her delicate body trembled. Chi-Su, don't slander me. Who wants to be your concubine? A person with no status like you doesn't even have the right to ask me to marry you. Yet you want me to be your concubine. This matter was simply a humiliation. She must have been out of her mind to have done such a thing back then. Of course, not only was Chi-Su handsome and powerful, he also had Yun Yueqing's protection and was the rightful successor of the Chi family. It was impossible for her not to like such an outstanding Chi-Su. Chi-Su. Was this young man Chi-Su from the Chi clan? The one who was kicked out of the Chi family a year ago? TSK, I didn't expect him to come back. I didn't expect the Grand Tutor's daughter to want to be Chi-Su's concubine. She even flew into a rage out of humiliation after being rejected. Those who were watching a good show would never complain about the matter blowing up. Zhao Ku was so angry that his face turned pale. His angry eyes swept over those who were discussing. Whoever dares to spout nonsense again, don't blame me for being impolite. Zhao Ku raised her chin and looked at Chi Su condescendingly. Chi Su, do you think a person like you is qualified to be with me? How dare you slander me? You're just being fickle-minded. Having a wife like the princess isn't enough. You want to take me as a concubine, but I don't agree, so you're blaming me instead. Let me tell you, I don't even want a proper wife, much less a concubine. I, Zhao Ku, would rather marry a poor man as a wife than marry a rich man as a concubine. I don't even care about the past you. Better to be a poor man's wife than a rich man's concubine. This was originally an extremely noble statement, but when it came from Zhao Ku's mouth, Yun Luofeng felt that it was very artificial. Chapter 1838. She trusted Chi Su. Therefore, if Zhao Ku had not done such a thing, Chi Su would not have said such a thing. However, she did not interfere in this matter because she believed that Chi Su could solve it himself. The eldest daughter of the Zhao family is really strong. She would rather be a poor man's wife than a rich man's concubine. With such a noble character, I believe that she is not the kind of person who would beg to be a concubine. I believe Miss Zhao. It must be Chi Su from the Chi family who wanted to have two beauties, but was rejected by the prideful Miss Zhao. That's why he slandered her. Everyone spoke one after another, looking at Chi Su and his sister with disdain. Zhao Ku's lips curled into a smile. She glanced at Yun Luofeng, who was holding Qi Ling in his arms, and a vicious light flashed in her eyes. Even if she didn't like Chi Su, it didn't mean that other women could stand by her side. She didn't dare to offend Mu Shuoxin, but it didn't mean that she couldn't touch other women. As the daughter of the Zhao family, I naturally have my pride, unlike some people who see a good-looking man and try to be his concubine. This kind of person is simply a disgrace to us women. Her gaze was fixed on Yun Luofeng, and the woman she was talking about was naturally the other party. Yun Luofeng didn't want to get involved in this matter at first. He wanted to let Chi Su handle it himself. Who would have thought that the other person would direct the topic to her? Instantly, she lifted her black eyes and shot a sharp glare at Zhao Ku. This gaze made Zhao Ku feel as if needles were stabbing into her back. She was so frightened that she broke out in a cold sweat. But when she thought about how Yun Luofeng was willing to be the concubine of a destitute person like Chi Su, she knew that he definitely didn't have any background. Therefore, she quickly regained her composure. Paw! Without waiting for Yun Luofeng to make a move, Chi Su quickly stepped forward and slapped Zhao Ku. He didn't retract his strength, so when the slap landed, Zhao Ku's entire body was sent flying. Chi Su stood where Zhao Ku had been standing. He clenched his fists so tightly that they made cracking sounds. His delicate eyes were filled with anger. Zhao Ku, I haven't settled the score with you yet. How dare you humiliate Miss Yun? She is Qi Ling's master. How dare you say that about her? Do you really think that I, Chi Su, am a pushover? Chi Su had long wanted to beat Zhao Ku up. Regardless of the matter of Yun Luofeng or not, he would not let her go. However, he had originally planned to do it secretly. Who would have thought that Zhao Ku's framing would completely ignite Chi Su's anger, causing him to lose control of his violent temper? Coer. Zhao Chao finally regained his senses and quickly walked to Zhao Ku's side and helped him up from the ground. How is it? Are you all right? At this point, he turned to look at Chi Su, his eyes filled with anger. Chi Su, how dare you hit my sister? Not only will I beat her, but I will also kill her sooner or later. When he said the word kill, Chi Su did not control his murderous aura at all. You. Jiao Chao's expression changed. Chi Su, my sister wasn't wrong. You said that it's impossible for my sister to become your concubine. You have a princess as your fiancée. With my sister's character, she would never do something like snatching someone else's man. In comparison, the woman next to you can't even compare to a single hair on my sister's head. In reality, Jiao Chao himself did not know that Jiao Ku had found Chi Su to confess. If he had known, he would definitely have stopped it. This was not because he had righteous values, but because he was afraid that Jiao Ku would implicate the Grand Tutor's residence. Chapter 1839. After all, Chi Su's backing had not fallen, the emperor had not been seriously ill, and he had doted on the fourth princess. If the fourth princess had complained, the Grand Tutor residence would have been finished. Yun Luofeng narrowed her eyes and glanced at Jiao Ku, who was being helped up by Jiao Chao. At that moment, Jiao Ku's face was ghastly pale. Her pitiful appearance made the people around her feel sorry for her. They cursed at Chi Su and expressed their disdain towards Yun Luofeng. You say that this woman is Qi Ling's master? What a joke. Why does a good-for-nothing like Qi Ling need a master? Why can't you find a better excuse? She was clearly the one who seduced you. Jiao Chao saw his sister being bullied and would not tolerate it. He glared fiercely at Yun Luofeng, his eyes full of disdain. You baddies, don't bully my master. Qi Ling had been terrified when she saw the Jiao siblings and had been hiding in Yun Luofeng's arms. However, when she heard that her most respected master was being humiliated, she was completely enraged. She immediately struggled out of Yun Luofeng's arms and pounced towards Jiao Chao. However, Jiao Chao did not move. He did not feel that it was embarrassing to attack a little girl in public. He just did not want to dirty his own feet. Jiao Chao did not move. Instead, an 8 or 9-year-old youth flashed out from behind him and attacked Qi Ling angrily. Xiao Ling. Chi Su's heart skipped a beat. Although Xiao Ling was no longer a good-for-nothing, she had only started cultivating not long ago. Furthermore, she was young and weak. How could she be a match for an 8 or 9-year-old youth? Yun Luofeng stood at the side without batting an eyelid. She wanted to see how far Qi Ling had progressed in her cultivation over the past few months. While helping Qi Ling cultivate, she also used spiritual energy to temper her body. Furthermore, she provided her with not only the spiritual energy in the space, but also countless spirit-gathering medicinal liquids. Therefore, Yun Luofeng was confident that Qi Ling's 3 months of cultivation was completely inferior to the 3 years of cultivation of others. Otherwise, if she could not defeat this 8 or 9-year-old youth under such generous conditions, then her talent could not be any worse. The youth had already pounced towards Qi Ling. A fierce look flashed across his eyes. His palm was also swift and fierce. He did not treat his opponent as a 5-year-old girl. Just when everyone thought that Qi Ling would either die or be severely injured, Qi Ling suddenly dodged the youth's attack. The young man was stunned. Before he could react, Qi Ling quickly grabbed the young man's arm and bit him. Ah! The young man cried out in pain and raised his hand to shake Qi Ling off. However, Qi Ling bit her tightly and showed no signs of letting go. Let go! The youth flew into a rage and slammed his palm towards Qi Ling's head. A glint flashed across Qi Ling's eyes. The moment the young man slapped down, she quickly let out a breath and dodged. But, the young man could no longer retract his hand. He slapped his arm, and the crowd could only hear the sound of dislocation, followed by a painful wail. I'll beat you to death for being the lackey of those 2 bad guys. Qi Ling's little face flushed with anger. Taking advantage of the fact that the teenager was still in a daze, she quickly pounced on him and pressed him firmly to the ground. Her little fist was wrapped in a layer of spiritual energy, and she fiercely punched the teenager's chest. Those who are with those two bad guys are not good people. Who asked you to bully my master? Hence, Qi Ling did not feel the slightest bit ashamed of beating this young man. Who asked him to be the lackey of the Zhao siblings? Chapter 1840. Zhao Ku and her sister had ugly expressions on their faces. The young man was their cousin. Although he wasn't extremely talented, he wasn't bad either. They didn't expect him to be crushed by Qi Ling. Qi Ling was only 5 years old. She had been a good-for-nothing a year ago. Yes, they were talking about a year ago. Qi Ling had indeed been a good-for-nothing back then. Who would have thought that she would be able to cultivate after a year? In an instant, everyone's gaze fell on Yun Luofeng's face. If Qi Ling could cultivate, did that mean that Qi Su was telling the truth? This woman was Qi Ling's master. Zhao Chao didn't think that way. He knew that Yun Ruqing had disappeared to find medicine for Qi Ling. Now that Qi Ling could cultivate, did that mean that Yun Ruqing had returned? Furthermore, why did this woman look so familiar? She looked similar to Yun Ruqing. Zhao Chao jumped in fright. His expression turned even uglier. Go away. Zhao Ku didn't think too much about it. She quickly stepped forward and was about to kick Qi Ling with her delicate leg. At this moment, an arm reached out from the side and pinched her leg firmly. Zhao Ku was shocked. She had just seen Yun Luofeng standing next to Qi Su. When did he appear here without anyone noticing? She didn't even have a chance to react. Looks like you don't want this leg. If that's the case. Yun Luofeng narrowed his eyes. Then, with a slap, a clear sound suddenly rang out, followed by Zhao Ku's heart-wrenching cry of pain. Ah! My leg, my leg! Bang! Yun Luofeng pushed hard, and Zhao Ku fell to the ground. She clutched the leg that Yun Luofeng had broken, her face pale. This was too shocking. So shocking that no one could react. Qi Su had been shocked by Qi Ling's strength, so he had let Yun Luofeng teach Zhao Ku a lesson first. But he felt that crippling Zhao Ku's leg was letting her off easy. Back then, Zhao Ku had wanted to find someone to humiliate Qi Ling. At that time, Qi Ling had only been a 4-year-old child. But there was still time. He and Zhao Ku would be settled bit by bit. Master. Qi Ling climbed down from the youth's body and stood next to Yun Luofeng. Her long eyelashes fluttered, making her look like a doll, very likable. Are you hurt? Yun Luofeng asked with concern. Qi Ling shook her head. They bullied Master. They're all bad guys. Yun Luofeng picked Qi Ling up. Although the little girl was young, she was quite heavy in his arms. It was obvious that Qi Su had not treated her badly for a year when she was chased out of the Qi family. Coer. Zhao Chao finally reacted and let out an angry roar. Qi Su, you've touched Coer. My father will never let you off. Just you wait. After that, he asked someone to carry Zhao Ku away. He had been frightened by Qi Ling just now, so he thought that Yun Ruqing had returned. But if Yun Ruqing really came back, would the Qi family be safe and sound? Therefore, the reason why Qi Ling was able to cultivate was probably because he had encountered some kind of opportunity in the past year. As for Yun Luofeng's resemblance to Yun Yueqing's, there were people who looked alike in this world. It must be a coincidence. Qi Su, let's go in. Qi Ling is probably hungry. Yun Luofeng carried Qi Ling and walked into the restaurant. Chi Su's appetite was not affected by Jiao Chao and his sister's appearance. His handsome face was very cold as he silently followed behind Yun Luo Feng. Chapter 1841. The Qi Family. In the courtyard, a beautiful woman walked in with a girl who was about the same age as Chi Su. Behind her was a group of guards and maids. Her posture was comparable to that of an emperor on a tour. She looked down at the grass and trees in the garden. Who transplanted these flowers and trees here? Second Madam, these were all personally picked by First Madam. The beautiful woman was very unhappy with the way she was addressed as Second Madam. She frowned and said, "Hurry up and flatten these flowers and trees. They're an eyesore." "But those are First Madam's painstaking efforts." The butler seemed a little reserved as he replied submissively. At that moment, Qi Jing and Qi Mo had already rushed over. Qi Mo was furious when he heard that person's words. "Didn't you hear what Second Madam said? Hurry up and flatten these eyesores." The butler was dumbfounded. Wasn't young Master Qi Mo the son of First Madam? Why was he speaking up for his concubine? Moreover, not only did the family head keep a woman outside, but he also had an illegitimate daughter. He had also hidden it for so many years. At the thought of this, the butler felt that it was unfair for Lin Qing. He had received Lin Qing's kindness before, so he naturally stood on her side. However, under such circumstances, he couldn't say anything at all. "Husband." The beautiful woman was very aggrieved, and tears flowed out of her eyes. She leaned against Qi Jing weakly and cried uncontrollably. "I know that I'm just your mistress for many years. These people must be on my sister's side. I don't want to fight with her for anything. I even gave her the son I gave birth to. Why is she still treating me like this? What did I do to let her down? He even gave her the son he gave birth to." The beautiful woman's words made everyone dumbfounded. They didn't understand what she meant. Since Qi Jing had agreed to bring back his mistress, he didn't intend to hide Qi Mo's identity. He coughed and said, "Announce that Second Madam's status in the residence is second only to me. Also, she's Mo, or his biological mother." Like 5 bolts of lightning striking their heads, everyone was stunned. Qi Mo was Second Madam's son. What about First Madam? Back then, First Madam gave birth to a stillborn child. In order to comfort her, I had no choice but to separate Fei Fei and her son. I've let them down all these years, so I decided to bring her into the residence to make it up to them. What? Everyone was even more astonished. Back then, the Second Madam and the First Madam gave birth at the same time. In the end, the doctor gave birth to a stillborn child, so he used the Second Madam's son. It was impossible for Qi Jing to tell others that he had strangled his own son to death. Even if his actions were pardonable, he would still be criticized by others. Qi Jing frowned. "Where's that woman? Didn't I tell you to let her go first and let her pour tea for your mother today? Why isn't she here yet?" Qi Zheng was probably the only one who could make the official wife pour tea for the concubine. Everyone wanted face, so even if many people doted on their concubines, they wouldn't go too far. Qi Jing felt that he owed Jian Feifei a lot, so he decided to support her in the mansion. There was a rule in the Drifting Wind country that a concubine could only remarry after the official wife had died. As long as the official wife was still alive, the concubine would not be able to take the position. That was why Jian Feifei was the Second Madam. However, with Qi Zheng's protection, Jian Feifei's status in the residence was much higher than Lin Qing's. However, that way, Qi Mo would not be able to become the legitimate son. But what did it matter? Who stipulated that the family property must be given to the legitimate son? As long as his father liked it, he could give it to whoever he wanted. Chapter 1842. Therefore, the Wind Cloud continent did not have a strong sense of propriety. The son of a concubine would not be looked down upon. They only looked down on losers and weaklings. Otherwise, the selfish Chi-Mo would definitely not allow his mother to be vindicated. Father, that woman said that she's not feeling well, so she's not coming, Chi-Mo replied coldly. What? Qi Zheng was furious. Fei returned home, but she's not even going to appear. She doesn't even listen to my orders. Husband. Jian Fei snuggled into Qi Zheng's arms as if there was no one else around. Forget it. She's your wife after all, and I'm just a concubine. It's better not to let her pour tea for me. If people find out, they'll think that you favor your concubine over your wife. I don't want you to be misunderstood like that. Jian Fei looked as if she had suffered a huge grievance. Qi Zheng's heart ached. However, this was the imperial city, not Maplewood Town. If the officials heard about this, it would definitely affect concubine Qin. Although the little prince was His Majesty's only son, His Majesty still had nephews, right? No one in the imperial city even knew that he wanted to sell Qiling out. Father, the young girl at the side immediately pouted and said angrily, I don't think there's anything wrong with letting that woman, Lin Qing, pour tea. She has done so many wrong things to mother all these years. Lu, stop it. Jian Fei's face turned pale as she scolded her. No, I'll keep talking. Qi Lu still looked angry. She first took away mother's time to accompany father, and then she took away big brother and mother's familial love. For the past 10 years, mother has been alone in her room every day because of her. I've tried to persuade mother to look for you many times, but mother refused. She said that Lin Qing was a jealous person and would not allow her to exist. She would rather suffer grievances herself than cause trouble for you, father. Mother is so reasonable, but what about her? If she really cared about father, she would accept the woman you like. Qi Lu gritted his teeth as if Lin Qing was the third party. Moreover, she caused so much harm to my mother. Shouldn't she pour tea and apologize? Lu, Jian Fei hurriedly stopped her again. Of course, if she really wanted to stop Qi Lu, she would have covered her mouth when Qi Lu was speaking. However, she obviously waited until Qi Lu finished speaking before she pretended to scold her. Qi-Mo. Qi Zheng was enraged by these words, but his anger was not directed at Qi Lu, but at Lin Qing. Go and drag that woman here to apologize to me. Even if she's dying, as long as she's still breathing, drag her here. If someone who didn't know the truth saw this scene, they would really think that Lin Qing had done something so heinous to them that she had to apologize even though she was beyond cure. Alright, I'll go find her now. With Qi Zheng's words, a sinister smile appeared on Qi Mo's face. He made a victorious gesture at his sister and walked towards the backyard. Fei, let's wait for her in the lobby. Fei, let's wait for her in the lobby. Qi Zheng held Jian Fei's hand. He looked at her beautiful face, and the more he looked at it, the more he liked it. You've been wronged for more than a decade. You've worked hard to bring Lu up, but I haven't been able to see you even once. Now, I want the culprit who caused this matter to pour tea and apologize to you. It's up to you whether to forgive her or not. Chapter 1843. After saying that, Qi Zheng walked into the hall with Jian Fei and her daughter. He sat high up and waited for the sinner to appear. A moment later, a pale woman was carried over by Qi-Mo. The woman's face was very pale. She was obviously ill. Even when she walked, she staggered as if she would fall at any moment. Qi Zheng did not sympathize with her at all. He felt that Lin Qing deserved it. Lin Qing, kneel down to Fei Fei. Qi Jing shouted. Lin Qing's body trembled. She bit her lips tightly. Why should I kneel down to a concubine? Because you took away Fei Fei's son and Fei Fei's love. It was as if Lin Qing wanted to snatch Qi Mo away. He was the one who strangled Lin Qing's son and asked Qi Mo to pretend to be him. In the end, it was Lin Qing's fault. Lin Qing's body trembled even more. She finally understood that no matter how good she was to Qi Mo, he would not care about it. So, Qi Mo was not her son. She had raised someone else's son for so many years. She, who had been kept in the dark, was being forced to apologize. Qi Jing, I've already given up on you. A year ago, you chased Su and Ling away. I thought that leaving the Qi family was a good choice for them. Even if they lived a hard life outside, it was better than being humiliated here. I didn't stop you, nor did I say a word for them. Lin Qing's face was filled with pain. But I didn't know that you wanted to sell Ling. She still remembered how Qi Ling hugged her leg and cried when she was chased out. However, she wanted them to stay away from the Qi family. Therefore, she did not help her daughter. She did not even say a word. At that time, her daughter was very sad. She would never forget the disappointment in her eyes. If she knew Qi Zhang's real motive, she would risk her life to protect her child. Yesterday, you told me that you had an affair and gave birth to a daughter. I also agreed to let you bring her back. Lin Qing's expression was very sad. But you're actually so inhumane. You made me raise her son for so many years, and you even want me to apologize. Impudent. Qi Jing slammed his palm on the table and shouted angrily, you are enjoying the happiness that belongs to others. Shouldn't you apologize? Fine. You said that Qi Mo isn't my son and you brought this woman back. However, you Qing earned the family business. Aren't you going to return it to him? Qi Jing narrowed his eyes and looked at Lin Qing coldly. Yunhui Qing is dead, and I am the head of the Qi family. These things belong to me. I haven't settled the score with you yet, and you still dare to mention the Qi family's business to me. Tell me the truth, did Yunhui Qing give Qi Su the formula for the spirit gathering elixir? Qi Su even sold the recipe that Yunhui Qing left behind to the second prince of the state of Tianqi. He sold something that originally belonged to Mo. Not only do you have to apologize, you also have to repay the debt. Lin Qing's body stiffened. She truly felt that she had been blind. Why had she been deceived by such a man in the past? What if I don't? Then don't blame me for not showing mercy. Someone, prepare some tea for First Madam. Someone had already prepared the tea. When they heard this, they immediately walked over to Lin Qing's side. First Madam, please. You. Lin Qing trembled in anger. She couldn't take it anymore. Chapter 1844. Lin Qing, your children are still in my hands. If you don't want Qi Ling to be betrayed, apologize for your mistake immediately. Qi Zheng's face was cold as he berated in a stern voice. Lin Qing panicked. What are you going to do to Ling? Apologize. Otherwise, you know what will happen to Qi Ling. Qi Zheng said coldly. To Lin Qing, such a life was worse than death. Therefore, she had already made up her mind. She would rather die than submit. However, she had someone she cared about the most. Those people were her son and daughter. Husband. Jian Feifei looked at Lin Qing with pity. She held Qi Zhang's arm coquettishly and said, forget it. It doesn't matter how much I suffer. I've been like this all these years. Sister, on the other hand, has been pampered for so many years. How can she bear such humiliation? So, in name, she was pleading for mercy, but in fact, it was adding fuel to the fire. It made Qi Jing even more furious. Kneel. Bang! Qi Mo, who was standing behind Lin Qing, kicked her knee, causing her to kneel on the ground. She was in pain, and her face turned even paler. Hold the teacup and apologize. Qi Jing gave a look to the guard beside him. The guard placed the teacup in Lin Qing's hand. Lin Qing held the teacup tightly. She wanted to smash it a few times, but she thought of the young Qi Ling and restrained her impulse. Please, have some tea. This sentence seemed to have used up all of Lin Qing's strength. Her body swayed and she almost fell to the ground. Jian Feifei lowered her eyes to hide the smug smile in her eyes. She reached out to touch the teacup in Lin Qing's hand, but she secretly used her spiritual energy. Lin Qing's palm hurt, and the tea rolled down. Ah! The tea splashed on Jian Feifei's hand, and she cried out in pain. The back of her hand was red, and her eyes were red with tears. Mother! Qi Mo and Qi Lu rushed to Jian Feifei's side. Their eyes were filled with worry. Then, they glared at Lin Qing angrily. Lin Qing, I know you're jealous, but I didn't expect it to be to this extent. Can you not tolerate Feifei at all? Qi Jing angrily slammed his palm towards Lin Qing's chest. In that instant, her body flew out like an arrow. Moreover, Qi Jing did not even allow her to explain herself. In fact, even if she said it, Qi Jing wouldn't believe her. The moment she fell, Qi Su and Qi Ling's faces appeared in Lin Qing's mind. A bitter smile hung on her lips as she slowly closed her eyes. Mother. Suddenly, a heart-wrenching sound rang out. It was familiar yet distant, and it caused Lin Qing's head to explode. Su-er. Was it her Su-er? Why did he return to the imperial city? Lin Qing tried her best to open her eyes and look at her son, whom she had been missing day and night. However, she had no strength left in her body. She didn't even have the strength to open her mouth. Her entire head felt dizzy. In the front hall, Qi Su quickly rushed in, followed by Yun Luofeng who was carrying Qi Ling. He immediately saw Lin Qing, who had been hit by Qi Jing. His handsome face was pale, and his eyes were filled with worry and anger. The last person to enter the hall was the old blacksmith. The old blacksmith had been conflicted for a few days about the news of Qi Su's return. However, he still felt that he should tell Lin Qing. Just as he was about to enter the Qi family's residence, he met the butler who was walking out quickly. The butler told him that Qi Jing had brought back a concubine and wanted to make things difficult for Lin Qing. Chapter 1845. After hearing this news, the old blacksmith hurried to find Qi Su. This was why Qi Su had returned to the Qi family. Qi Su, who allowed you to come back? Qi Zhang's expression changed the moment he saw the Qi siblings, and he shouted angrily. However, Qi Su did not even look at him. She looked at Yun Luofeng with pleading eyes. Miss Yun, could you please take a look at my mother? Yun Luofeng nodded lightly and walked to Lin Qing's side. With one look, she could not help but frown. She was malnourished, which caused her to be physically weak. In addition, she suffered a heavy blow, which is why she fainted. Malnourished. Qi Su's heart skipped a beat. Martial artists could use spiritual energy as food, but this was only possible after they had reached a certain level of cultivation. Lin Qing was not very talented, so her abilities were naturally not very high. Thus, she had to replenish her nutrients through food. Yun Luofeng claimed that she was malnourished, which meant that Qi Zheng had treated her harshly. Take her to rest first. Yun Luofeng looked at Lin Qing and ordered in a low voice. Her words were naturally directed at the old blacksmith standing behind her. When the old blacksmith saw that his sister was unconscious, he had long been worried. With Yun Luofeng's orders, he naturally went forward to carry Lin Qing from the ground and walked in the direction of the Qi family's backyard. Who allowed her to leave? Qi Zheng slammed his palm on the table and shouted angrily, Lin Qing has not even apologized to Fei Fei. What right does she have to leave? Men, take them down for me. I'd like to see who dares. Boom. At this moment, Yun Luofeng's aura surged. Her sharp eyes shot towards the guards who had drawn their swords, and she berated them in an imposing manner. Needless to say, her words were accompanied by the power that was released, causing the guards to tremble and stop in their tracks. Their eyes were still filled with fear. Perhaps they had not expected that a little girl like Yun Luofeng could give them such a powerful aura. Even the clan leader was not even 1/10 as powerful as she was. However, as the two sides clashed, the old blacksmith had already left with Lin Qing. Who do you think you are? How dare you meddle in the affairs of my Qi family? Qi Zheng shouted angrily. His gaze towards Yun Luofeng gradually became fiery. Yun Luofeng did not speak. She did not even look at Qi Zheng. It was as if she had completely ignored him as she continued to comfort the trembling Qi Ling. Of course, Qi Ling wasn't scared, but angry. I only have one question for you. Why did you ask my mother to apologize? What did she do wrong? Qi Su's eyes flashed coldly as he asked. Qi Zheng snorted. Your mother deprived Fei Fei of her rights as the second madam of the Qi family and separated me from LoveLore for so many years. More importantly, she snatched Immerse away and caused Fei Fei to suffer for so many years. Shouldn't she apologize? In fact, Qi Zheng already knew everything when he arrived at the Qi family. Now, hearing Qi Zheng's shameless words, Qi Su's handsome face flashed with anger. Didn't you arrange for Qi Mo to come to the Qi family? My mother was the one who raised her when she was growing up. It's fine if you're not grateful, but you're blaming me instead. Moreover, you've kept the matter of having an affair a secret from my mother for so many years. Isn't this your fault? You even pushed all the blame to my mother. Qi Zheng's expression changed. He was in the wrong. How could he be in the wrong? Chapter 1846. Qi Su, Jian Feifei saw Qi Zheng's ugly expression and hurriedly stood up. She said bitterly, You've misunderstood your father. This is not your father's fault. It's me. I was the one who was willing to stay alone for so many years. I was also the one who was willing to give up Immerse just to fulfill your mother's wish to raise her son. If you want to blame someone, blame me. He's innocent. With these words, Jian Feifei not only exonerated Qi Zheng, she also proved that she was innocent. On the contrary, it made people feel that Lin Qing was too ruthless. She stole someone else's son and even let him stay alone for so many years. Fei Fei, it's not your fault. It's Lin Qing's fault. Don't take the blame on yourself. Qi Zheng's originally ugly expression became much more restrained after hearing Jian Feifei's words. He looked at her, touched. What virtue or ability did he have in this life to be able to have a woman who was so considerate of him? In comparison, Lin Qing was too much of a scum. Qi Zheng. Seeing that Qi Zheng was about to say something, Yun Luofeng's eyes darkened. His lips curled into a sinister smile. Do you think it's interesting to argue with such a shameless person? Qi Zheng was startled. He turned to Yun Luofeng in confusion. Yun Luofeng narrowed his eyes. Let me teach you a trick. If you can't pretend to be wronged and pretend to be someone else, then make yourself more fierce. So, what are you waiting for now? Go beat him up. I'll take responsibility if he dies. Her voice was arrogant and domineering. It was as if she didn't put the Chi family in her eyes. In reality, Yun Luofeng didn't want to expose herself so quickly. However, the world was unpredictable. If she didn't teach these people a lesson, she might not be able to get over it. Bitch, don't go too far. This is the Chi family. Killing you is as easy as killing an ant. Chi Lu stomped his feet angrily. At this moment, a red light came from behind Yun Luofeng. Then, a little girl dressed in red appeared out of thin air in front of her. Paw! The little girl raised her hand and ruthlessly slapped Chi Li's face. In an instant, a bright red handprint appeared on her face. Clean your mouth. You dare to scold my master. You're courting death. When the word courting death fell, Fire's body was enraged, and his red hair stood on end. Qi Zheng had been looking at Qi Su, so he didn't notice when the little girl appeared. When she appeared, he wanted to stop her, but it was too late. Qi Su, it seems like you don't want to live anymore. I'll satisfy you. Boom. Qi Zheng stood up angrily. Of course, the first person he looked for was the Fire who had slapped Qi Lu. However, before he could even reach Fire, he was blocked by a sturdy body. This was a man with an expressionless face. His appearance was ordinary, but he was very capable. His two burly and powerful arms suddenly stretched forward, blasting towards the charging Qi Zheng. Bang! Qi Zheng hurriedly met his opponent's attack, but he was forced to take a few steps back. There was a metallic taste in his throat, and his face turned red like a pig's liver. God! What? Was this man a god? Where did he come from? And when did it appear? Just as everyone was puzzled, Yun Luofeng's evil and cold voice slowly rang out, Yun Yi, as long as he doesn't die, beat him up as much as you want. It meant that it didn't matter if he was beaten until half of his body was paralyzed. However, Yun Luofeng did not plan to kill Qi Zheng for the time being. Just based on what he had done, he had to be in despair before he could die. Humph, you think you can defeat me just because you ambushed me? How laughable. No matter what, I am an invincible person who has defeated gods. With just you alone, you are no match for me. Qi Zheng sneered disapprovingly. Then, he leaped up and attacked Yun Yi. Chapter 1847. His every move was aimed at the vital points. If it was an ordinary person, they would indeed be severely injured even if they didn't die. However, Yun Yi was a puppet. As a lifeless puppet, he naturally didn't have any vital points. Bang! Qi Zheng's fist landed on Yun Yi's heart. He exerted force with his palm and a wave of spiritual energy entered his heart. A smug smile appeared on his face. Was this guy stupid? He didn't even protect his heart. If his heart was attacked, he would definitely die. However, his smile soon froze, because Yun Yi had already grabbed his arm. He suddenly raised his hand and a powerful force hit Qi Zheng's chest. His body flew backward in an instant. How is this possible? He had clearly attacked his heart. Why was he still safe and sound? Before Qi Zheng could think about it, Yun Yi had already appeared in front of him again. He grabbed Qi Zheng, lifted him up high, and smashed him back down. With a loud bang, a pit was formed on the ground. Yun Yi's movements were so fast that Qi Zheng didn't have a chance to react. He only came back to his senses when he felt a sharp pain coming from his bones. He was defeated. Impossible. He, who had defeated the invincible deity, actually failed. Of course, Yuni wouldn't let Qi Zheng off just because he was defeated. Although he was a puppet, he was absolutely loyal to Yun Luofeng's orders. Since his master told him to beat him up, he definitely wouldn't let Qi Zheng off so easily. So, Qi Zheng, whose heart was full of pain, had not yet walked out of this misery when he saw Yuni jump up high and land on the ground with a bang, stepping on his chest. So, pfft. Qi Zheng spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted. In the deity realm, Qi Zheng was indeed very strong. However, the person he met was Yun Yi, who was a puppet. He was even injured because of his carelessness. Think about it. In the same level, one person could feel pain and couldn't fight if he was injured. He might even die. The other person was immortal and didn't feel pain or injury. How could he fight? There was no comparison at all. Qi Lo and Qi Mo's mouths were wide open in shock. Their bodies were trembling. Father was defeated. How could this be possible? Compared to the siblings, Jian Feifei screamed and rushed towards Qi Zheng. She cried, "Husband, you can't be hurt. You can't be hurt. What would I do if something happened to you? Who will back me up? What right do I have to act like a tyrant?" Unfortunately, Jian Feifei didn't say the last 3 sentences out loud. She did not know if Qi Zheng was faking it or if he had really fainted. Yun Luofeng turned around and looked at Qi Mo. "Didn't you want to avenge your mother?" Qi Su finally came back to his senses. The way he looked at Jian Feifei and the others could be described as a knife. "Do you think my mother should apologize to you?" Qi Mo's face was shrouded in a cold glint. "Moreover, in this huge Qi family, how could my mother starve to the point of malnutrition?" Qi Mo's expression changed. He looked at Qi Su angrily. "Qi Su, you colluded with outsiders and injured father. You want to obtain the Qi family's assets. You deserve to die. Obtain the Qi family's assets." Qi Zheng laughed out loud. "The Qi family was mine to begin with. You shameless bastards stole the assets that my master left me. How dare you say that I want the Qi family's assets? I'm just taking back what belongs to me." Chapter 1848. Qi Mo was so angry that his entire body was trembling. If looks could kill, Qi Su would have died 1,000 times over. "Mo, stop talking." Jian Feifei's face was covered in tears as she slowly stood up from the ground. Her beautiful eyes were filled with grief, as if Qi Su was an evil person. "Su, I'm your second mother after all. I know you hate your father, but he's innocent. Which man on this continent doesn't have 3 wives and 4 concubines? If it wasn't for your mother's permission, your father, he wouldn't have to suffer so much." These words made Qi Zheng's mistress become an innocent person, while Lin Qing was unforgivable. Besides, as the eldest son of the Qi family, Mo should have inherited all the property. If you bring outsiders to attack your father, wouldn't that mean you've obtained the Qi family's property? Second mother. Qi Su smiled mockingly. "I don't even recognize Qi Zheng. What kind of second mother are you? Furthermore, a concubine dares to claim to be my mother. You're shameless, but I think you're embarrassing." When he thought about how Lin Qing had been abused by these people, and how she had been forced to pour tea and apologize even though she had done nothing wrong, he was furious. "Originally, I didn't hit women, but if they were despicable, then it would be a different story." "You." Jian Feifei's face paled and she opened her mouth to speak. Qi Su felt that her words were too disgusting, so he didn't give her a chance to speak. He immediately rushed in front of her and kicked Jian Feifei in the chest. "Brother, help me capture her. Let me beat her up." Qi Ling had wanted to make a move for a long time. When she saw Chi Su rush over first, she immediately said. Her voice was soft and didn't have much of a deterrent force. But who told her to have a brother like Chi Su? Therefore, when he heard his sister's words, Chi Su grabbed Jian Feifei's hair and pulled her hands behind her back, not allowing her to move. Bad woman, I'll let you bully my mother. Qi Ling quickly ran in front of Jian Feifei. Her sharp claws slashed across Jian Feifei's face, and a bright red claw mark appeared on her cheek. Little bitch, how dare you hurt my mother? Qi Lu was furious and wanted to teach Qi Ling a lesson. Before she could take 2 steps, Fire, who had been standing at the side, immediately slapped her away. Qi Mo was frightened by Fire and didn't dare to move. He was glad that he wasn't the one who made the first move. Aw! Jian Feifei screamed hysterically. Her eyes were red, and tears of grievance rolled down her cheeks. The sound was too painful. Chi Su, who was lying on the ground, moved his eyelids, but he still couldn't open his eyes. In fact, he didn't faint just now. He was afraid that he would be tortured even more severely if he was awake, so he pretended to be unconscious. Humans were selfish by nature. Even though he doted on Jian Feifei, the person he loved the most was himself. Therefore, even though Jian Feifei was being tortured, he did not get up to help. In any case, he would make it up to Feifei after everything was over. Women fight differently from men. If Chi Su were to make a move, he would at most slap her a few times and kick her a few times. It would be different if it was Qi Ling. The sharp little claws had scratched her entire face, and a large piece of her hair had been torn off. Even her scalp was bleeding. It was so painful that Jian Feifei couldn't help but wail a few times. Qi Su, Qi Ling, enough! Qi Mo shouted. Due to Fire standing at the side, he did not dare to make a move. Qi Su, Imperial concubine Qin is my aunt, and the little prince is also the future emperor. Aren't you afraid of Imperial concubine Qin's revenge for treating the Qi family like this? Qi Mo's eyes flashed with anger. You have to know that there are 2 ultimate gods and more than 10 divine kings in the royal family. Chapter 1849. Indeed, Qi Su had reached an agreement with the second prince because he was afraid of Imperial concubine Qin. But now, even if he asked Imperial concubine Qin to punish him, he had to teach Jian Feifei a lesson. Imperial concubine Qin. So what? It's the Qi family's fault. What's wrong with me taking revenge for my mother? Besides, I'm just teaching a concubine a lesson. Does Imperial concubine Qin have to care about such a small matter? Qi Su smiled coldly. Qi Mo was filled with anger. He seemed to have thought of something and said disdainfully, Qi Su, you probably don't know this, but Imperial concubine Qin has already made the decision to make the 4th princess my concubine. Aren't you in love with the 4th princess? Then I'll let you watch how the woman you like lies under me and is tortured to death. What did you say? Qi Su's voice turned cold, and it wasn't hard to hear the anger in it. I said, your former fiancée will become my concubine. A woman who's only worthy of being my concubine is the woman you liked back then. Don't you think it's embarrassing? Qi Mo gritted his teeth and said. Bang! Suddenly, a kick landed on Qi Mo's face. Qi Mo quickly took a few steps back. His nose and lips were purple, and blood kept flowing out. Don't you dare touch her. A murderous aura surged from Qi Su's body. That aura completely frightened Qi Mo, and his face turned pale. However, he still didn't want to lose to Qi Su. He said forcefully, even if you don't agree, there's nothing you can do. Imperial concubine Qin has already decided, and no one can stop her. If you have the ability, go and fight with her. Let's see how many lives you have. Smack. Chi Su's foot was aimed at Chi Mo's face. This kick almost killed Chi Mo. Who asked him to be so mean? He knew that Chi Su liked Mu Shuashin and knew that he wasn't Chi Su's match, but he still provoked him. Wasn't he asking for a beating? Yun Luofeng's lips curled up, and he crossed his arms. He leaned against the door lazily and looked at the chaotic hall. Not a single guard in the entire Qi family dared to make a move. It wasn't that they didn't care about Qi Jing, but they were frightened by Yun Yi's power and Qi Su's hostility. Qi Su, Yun Luofeng saw that they were almost done with their fight, then slowly opened his mouth. The Qi family courtyard, was it bought by your master? In the past, the Qi family wasn't in the imperial city. They only moved here after they became stronger. That was why she asked such a question. Qi Su nodded slightly. Everything in the Qi family belongs to my master. It was also because of this that he was so angry when he found out that the Qi family had starved Lin Qing to the point of malnutrition. Moreover, when Qi Su's aunt fell ill, Lin Qing secretly went to give some money to Qi Jing. When Qi Jing found out, he gave her a beating. All these things added together made Qi Jing have the urge to annihilate the Qi clan. Yun Luofeng narrowed his eyes. If that's the case, then we'll live here in the Qi family. After all, these are your master's things. Oh right, I just looked around. The Qi family's treasury has a lot of precious items, and there's also a lot of gold and silver. You take all of them, and don't leave a single copper coin for them. Qi Su returned to Yun Luofeng's side. What about these people? Do you want me to chase them away? Actually, Qi Su had wanted to wait until he was strong enough to fight against the royal family before killing his way back to the Qi family. However, because of Lin Qing, he had no choice but to return first. Chapter 1850. Since she had already done it, she might as well do it even more ruthlessly. She would take back all of the Qi family's belongings and force these people out. No need, Yun Luofeng smiled evilly, I will allow them to stay in the Qi family. Qi Su looked at Yun Luofeng in shock, not understanding why she did not kick these people out. But he did not question it. Miss Yun had her reasons for everything she did. He only needed to obey. However, Yun Luofeng clearly understood Qi Su's doubts and smiled slightly. What do you think they can do if they stay in the Qi family? Or continue to bully your mother? Since they cannot bully you, why not let them stay? But I feel that Miss Yun is not a kind person. Qi Su was silent for a while before asking. I am definitely not kind. If they stay, you can vent your anger on them when you are angry. When you're in a bad mood, you can torture them a few times. Yes. Yun Luofeng kept them so that Qi Su could vent his anger. When she said she wanted to take back the Qi family's belongings, Qi Zhang's eyelid twitched. Hearing this, his expression became even uglier. But he did not open his eyes. The Qi family still had concubine Qin. When the time came, he would complain to concubine Qin and make these people suffer. As for the guards of the Qi family, Yun Luofeng paused, change them. Do not keep those who are not loyal. Okay. Qi Su nodded, agreeing with Yun Luofeng's words. Let's go, we will go see your mother first. Also. Yun Luofeng paused, Yun Yi, look after these people. Do not allow them to take one step out of the Qi family. The expressions of Qi Jing and the others changed immediately. If they were not allowed to leave, how could they complain to concubine Qin? How could concubine Qin avenge them? Especially Jian Feifei. She did not show anything on her face, but she was going crazy inside. She wanted to kill Yun Luofeng. And Lin Qing and her 2 children, they all deserved to die. Inner courtyard of the palace. Mu Shuoxin was walking in the imperial garden when she suddenly saw a figure in front of her. She frowned and decided to ignore it. "Fourth princess, please wait." Unexpectedly, that woman actually called out to her to stop her footsteps. Mu Shuoxin's footsteps paused. She turned around to look at the woman and asked, "What business does eldest Miss Lu have with this princess?" This woman was the daughter of Lord Lu. If Yun Luofeng were here, he would have recognized her as the person who had followed behind the Zhao siblings that day. However, she hadn't said a single word from beginning to end, so Yun Luofeng and the others didn't pay much attention to her. Does the 4th princess know that the 2nd young master of the Qi family has returned? Lu Yu's face was filled with a gentle smile as she spoke in a completely unpretentious voice. Mu Shuoxin's body trembled, and joy flashed in her heart. Qi Su is back. However, when she thought of the recent situation in the court, her joy suddenly disappeared and was replaced by helplessness. So what? Lu Yu's eyes flickered a few times. "Your Highness, there's another woman beside Qi Su." "Woman?" Mu Shuoxin was startled, and the image of the white-clothed woman she had seen in the Spirit River Mountain surfaced in her mind. If she was by Qi Su's side, it should be her savior, Qi Ling's master. She had also come. Back then, she hadn't been able to properly thank her. Since she had come to the imperial city, she must go and see her. Chapter 1851. Furthermore, she misses Qi Su. Lu Yu saw that Mu Shuoxin did not respond and gritted her teeth. "Princess, I think that woman and Qi Su have an unusual relationship." "Unusual? Of course it's unusual. She was Qi Ling's master and had helped Qi Ling with his cultivation. How could their relationship be ordinary?" Mu Shuoxin furrowed her brows and her expression sank. "What are you trying to say?" "Princess, you are engaged to the 2nd master of the Qi family. Can you tolerate another woman following him?" "I think that Qi Su likes that woman very much." Mu Shuoxin's expression turned even uglier. Of course, she was targeting Lu Yu and not Yun Luofeng. "Eldest Lady Lu, aren't you being a busybody? Does anyone following Qi Su have anything to do with you? Or are you saying that you like Qi Su?" Mu Shuoxin's lips curled into a sarcastic smile as she stared coldly at Lu Yu. Lu Yu lowered her gaze. "Princess, I'm thinking for your sake. I have no selfish motives. After all, I think only you are worthy of standing by Qi Su's side. So what if Qi Su has been chased out of the Qi family? He was handsome and had great talent. Just this point alone was enough to attract the attention of all the women. As for Lu Yu, she has liked Qi Su since a long time ago and that has never changed. In the past, Qi Su had the princess by his side. Aside from envy, she had no other feelings for him. No matter how much she liked him, she could only watch silently from afar. However, forget about the princess. Who does that woman think she is? What right does she have to occupy the position next to Qi Su? Unfortunately, the Zhao siblings had suffered at her hands. Naturally, she did not dare to act rashly. After much thought, she decided to tell the 4th princess about this and use her to get rid of her. She never thought that the princess would remain unmoved. Could it be that she does not like Qi Su? Regardless of what Lu Yu guessed, she did not dare to question Mu Shuoxin further. She could only watch unwillingly as Mu Shuoxin left. Her beautiful face was filled with anger. At the Qi family home. In the most remote and dilapidated western courtyard, Qi Zheng was thrown onto a bed in a half-dead state. Only after the person had left did he suddenly open his eyes. His eyes were filled with viciousness and murderous intent. Chi-Su, one day, the people I want to help you will die a horrible death. If someone who didn't know the truth saw this, they would think that Chi-Su had an irreconcilable hatred with him. They wouldn't even think that Chi-Su was his son. Husband. Jian Feifei sat at the head of the bed. Her messy hair made her look like a crazy woman. Her face was covered in blood-red claw marks. Her eyes were bloodshot and her delicate body was trembling slightly. It was truly a pitiful sight. That is, if you ignore her face. Originally, Jian Feifei was beautiful and could naturally capture a man's heart. But now, she was as messy as a madman and her face was ruined. How could she still arouse a man's desire? Feifei, Qi Zhang's eyes did not have the heartache he used to have, only a touch of guilt. I've implicated you in this matter. Don't worry, if there's a chance in the future, I'll tie those people up and let you vent your anger. Jian Feifei shook her head. I don't want revenge nor do I want to vent my anger. I only want you to be well, husband. That's more important than anything else. Her words made Qi Jing feel even more guilty. He really could not understand how those people could bear to hurt Jian Feifei, such a good woman. Feifei, when concubine Qin finds out about what has happened to us, she will definitely come for revenge. However, she's probably busy dealing with Mu Shuaxi now, so we'll need to wait. Qi Jing comforted Jian Feifei. When the time comes, they will definitely pay the price. I know that you're kind-hearted and can't bear to take revenge, but you don't need to show them any mercy. Chapter 1852. Jian Feifei lowered her head and sobbed softly. Therefore, Qi Jing did not see the viciousness hidden in her eyes when she lowered her head. Since Qi Jing had moved back to the Qi family, he also brought the old blacksmith and his wife over. Now that the Qi family was back in Qi Zhang's hands, all the treasures in the treasure pavilion were also under his control. However, he knew that one day, Qin Fei would know everything that happened to the Qi family. Therefore, he had to do his best to improve his strength during this period. At this time, Yun Luofeng's medicine hall opened for business. It was called the Spirit Gathering Medicinal Hall. The news of the Spirit Gathering medicinal liquid appearing in Maplewood Town had already spread a few months ago. As soon as they heard the word Spirit Gathering Medicinal Hall, many people associated it with the Spirit Gathering medicinal liquid in Maplewood Town. Therefore, even though the Spirit Gathering Medicinal Hall was located in the extremely remote West City, it was still bustling with people that day. Many people came for the Spirit Gathering medicinal liquid. Everyone, apart from the Spirit Gathering medicinal liquid, our medicine hall is selling something else today. Shopkeeper Zhao greeted the customers with a smile and said politely. As soon as he finished speaking, the people who were originally rushing to buy the Spirit Gathering medicinal liquid all turned to look at him. Men, bring the puppets here. Shopkeeper Zhao did not explain much and ordered directly. As soon as he finished speaking, 2 servants carried a few cages over. When they saw the people in the cages, everyone turned pale with fright. People. The Spirit Gathering medicinal hall is human trafficking? No, didn't you hear what shopkeeper Zhao just said? These are puppets. Puppets. Heavens, there are people in this world who can make puppets? Is this real? Am I dreaming? Everyone knew what puppets represented. However, they had only heard of them and had never seen them before. Now that they saw the cages being carried over, they could not help but be shocked. Following that, shopkeeper Zhao's next sentence was like a heavy stick, smashing everyone until they were dizzy. These are not just ordinary puppets. They are at the divine spirit realm. Can you imagine what a divine spirit realm puppet represents? Shopkeeper Zhao didn't say much, but his words left everyone dumbfounded. Not only was it a puppet, but it was also a puppet at the divine spirit realm. If they could buy him, it would prove that their family had a deity. Good heavens! This was simply inconceivable. Of course, although everyone was shocked, they also knew that divine spirit realm puppets were not the same as spirit gathering elixir. It was not something that could be bought with money. Due to the uniqueness of these puppets, the materials are hard to find and even harder to make, so we only sell 3 of them per month. Also, shopkeeper Zhao paused for a moment. According to my master's request, the puppets do not accept any gold coins. They must be exchanged with items of high value. If 1 isn't enough, then 2 will be used until we can afford the price. Hearing this, a voice came from the crowd. Shopkeeper Zhao, what kind of items can be exchanged for a puppet? Shopkeeper Zhao had also asked Chi Su about this matter, and Chi Su had asked Yun Luofeng about it. Thus, when he heard this question, shopkeeper Zhao immediately replied, the meteoric iron core. The heart of meteoric iron was different from ordinary meteoric iron. It contained the essence of the meteoric iron. It was extremely precious and difficult to find. However, a divine spirit realm puppet was completely worth this price. Shopkeeper Zhao, is the spirit gathering elixir that you are selling the same spirit gathering elixir that was widely known in Maplewood Town? You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.